If there is college football on Saturday, I don't think the NFL will interfere. If there's not, then the NFL is going to take over Saturday night, maybe even late Saturday afternoon.
Yeah, well, exactly. But if it goes forward the way it is, ESPN is going to dominate on Saturdays because all Fox will have is some Big 12 games that they can show. Whereas ESPN will have most of what they show.
Well, remember one thing: for at least 3 more years, CBS will still has that late afternoon package, which is the top game of the week.
No, I understand that.
Yeah, I mean,
also,
what ESPN will have is they'll have a primetime game. They'll have three games on Saturday on this network, which they're obligated to show. So, and then it's conceivable you might see. I don't think one of the reluctant parts of playing Thursday night has been crowd control. But if there's no crowds, you could possibly see a few more Thursday night games.
Oh no, absolutely. I mean, but ESPN's going to have most of the stuff to show because NBC will have the 6 Notre Dame games.
Right.
CBS will have their 1 SEC game. But most of the games are going to be under
but one more
thing,
nobody's going to be in great shape. But ESPN does have has a primetime game. ABC has a primetime game that's normally ACC, Pac-12, Big 10, or Big 12. So yeah, I mean there'll be enough games to go around if 3 stay. That is a fact. Ed is in Florida, and Ed, you're on the air. Go right ahead.
Hey, how you doing, Paul? Thanks for taking my call.
Thank you.
Hey, I just had one thing to say, and I'm going to ask you a question. I agree with everyone about all the reasons why you shouldn't play spring football, definitely. And the other thing I think of, too, is if fall games do go down, then that's going to be playoffs, national championships. So what would you do? Why would you even play spring? That's another reason why you want to play spring ball. I understand the frustrations of the Big Ten. I understand frustrations of Nebraska and even what they said. But I think what I saw and read and saw on the interviews was they said they were looking to explore out of the Big Ten just for this season. I never heard them say they want to leave forever.
No, you're right. But the way these contracts are structured, that would not have worked. And
I agree with that.
So
In my I only have one suggestion. I know they were talking about the bubble before, but if players are willing to quarantine on campus for, let's say, 4 months during the season, just because, the way I look at it, if the military, every branch is military, they could do it during boot camp and basic training and everything. Why can't our kids, these young adults, if they agree to do that, and they get tested every day and all this stuff, but you agree to do this, and if you leave the campus or want to leave the campus, you're done for the season. And I think it's a Big Ten, Pac-12, or SEC, ACC, everybody, if you structure something like this, you just quarantine them on campus. If you kids agree, young adults, you're grown adults, you can make your own decision. If you agree to do this, we can go on with the season. Because if you don't go out there and mingle with everybody, you can't bring the virus back. Because
no, you're right. I tell you what,
campuses are willing to let these guys
let me. I want to join
cool.
you. We'll sit 6 feet apart. I want to hear Nick Saban give that speech to his players. I want to hear Dan Mullen. I want to hear all that is. That is going to be the most entertaining speech I have ever heard. Hey, thanks for the call. I really do appreciate it.
Okay, do you think the Big 10 or Big 12 can change their minds at
No.
this point,
No. You don't change. You don't change it as it was explained. I think Mike Oresco said it's much easier to shut down than to regroup. They're done. You're not coming back unless this virus magically disappeared tomorrow, which I'm hoping it does. Let's take a break. Steve Spurrier in the final hour. We'll get his thoughts on where we are right now. Back with more.
Shopping should be fun, but that's tough when you're worried about credit. At Aaron's, we make it quick and easy. Before you go, head to apply.aarons.com to discover your leasing power. You'll immediately know how much you're approved to lease to own. Just apply from your phone or computer, then visit your local Aaron's to shop top brands like Samsung and GE with the confidence of knowing you're already approved. Aaron's. Easy, beautiful, affordable. Approval is valid only at assigned store location. Not all stores participating. Approval is not guaranteed. Some restrictions apply.
Hey, it's time for some straight talk. You know what a full court press is in basketball, right? Full defensive coverage with no holes. Well, that's the kind of coverage you get with Straight Talk Wireless. It runs on America's best networks, same as big carriers, but for a lot less. Just $45 a month gets you the unlimited plan with 25 gigs of high-speed data and 2G for up to 50% less than the big carriers. No contract. Full court coverage, 50% less. Straight Talk Wireless. No contract, no compromise. Savings may vary. See terms and conditions at straighttalk.com.
For your Gulf Coast Sports Minute, I'm JP. Now halfway through their 2020 schedule, the historic Five Flags Speedway has done a great job bringing some local racing to our area. Well, that continues again on Friday night as it's $5 admission night and, more importantly, Demolition Derby night. Along with the Derby, the Outlaws return as well as the Truck Series and Pure Stock, so come on out to the Speedway on Friday for a great night of racing. In our recruiting spotlight this week, Ryan Worley for the West Florida Jags. We all know the Panhandle is by far the least recruited area of the state, and that's why it's important to watch a lineman like Ryan. Very athletic, whistle-to-whistle kind of player who is so much fun to watch on running plays. It's not unusual to find him 30 yards up the field chasing plays, which is something that college coaches just love to see. He is a solid pass blocker with great feet, strength, and knowledge of playing the position. This is someone who will definitely be getting some major attention before the year's up. And you know Coach Summerford and the Jags have no shortage of talent, so you are not going to want to miss these guys on Friday night. That's your Gulf Coast Sports Minute. I'm JP.
The teams, the games, the fans, the local talk. This is ESPN Pensacola 1330 AM, 99.1 FM.
Nick Saban has a message for us regarding the coronavirus.
First of all, I hope this message finds you and your family safe and well. On behalf of our program, we want to give thanks to all the medical professionals and caregivers in our state and across the country in these challenging times. Our daily routines have changed dramatically over these past weeks. As we have said to our team, we share the same message to all of you. Please understand the following guidelines of social distancing. We ask that everyone please wash your hands often. Stay at home if at all possible. And when you have to be out in public, make sure you keep 6 feet between you and the nearest person. We are in this together, and as one team, we will get through these difficult times. And together, we look forward to all that's to come, like the opportunity to play college football this fall. But the best and safest way to ensure that happens is to listen to the experts, follow their guidelines, and take care of each other. Stay safe and roll Tide.
For this week in sports history, I'm JP. In 1981, Pete Rose hit his 3,631 career hit, breaking Stan Musial's NL hit record. In 1987, Oakland's Mark McGwire sets rookie home run record at 39 en route to 49, which was later broken by Aaron Judge and then Pete Alonso, who slugged 52 last year. In 1997, the Atlanta Braves signed legendary MLB pitcher Greg Maddux, 5-year, $57.5 million deal. The contract, which guaranteed $11.5 million, made Maddux the highest-paid player in baseball. 2002, San Francisco Giants outfielder Barry Bonds hits his 600th career home run. In 2012, women's Olympic soccer gold medal won by the USA, beating Japan 2-1 in the final. And in 2012, Jamaican sprint superstar Usain Bolt wins the 200-meter at London Olympics in 19.32 to become the first to win the 100 and 200-meter double in back-to-back Olympics. That's This Week in Sports History. I'm JP.
Hi, I'm Kelly Clarkson, and I've toured the country dozens of times, and there's one thing I see everywhere: childhood hunger. The sad truth is that 17 million kids struggle with it. That's why the Feeding America nationwide network of food banks gathers up surplus food and gets it to hungry kids. Join me in supporting Feeding America and your local food bank at feedingamerica.org.
To help solve hunger in your community and to find your local food bank, visit feedingamerica.org. Brought to you by Feeding America and the Ad Council.
This is ESPN Pensacola 1330 AM 99.1 FM. Pensacola's home for hometown sports. Your home to talk football with Coach K. Sports Drive with Chad Brillante and Sports Call with Davis Allen. If you'd like to partner with ESPN Pensacola or become a sponsor, just give us a call at 262-6000.
You're listening to ESPN Pensacola 1330 AM, 99.1 FM. All sports, all the time. WEBY, Milton, Pensacola.
Ladies and gentlemen, can I please have your attention? I need all of you to stop what you're doing and listen.
Coming up on the Sports Drive, we'll get to the Big 12's announcement that they'll be playing. We'll see if Nebraska wants to join. And get them back to their actual number of 12. We'll talk some more NFL. They'll have a snitch line back out there. NFL Hard Knocks is filming, and we'll talk some NBA bubble right here in the Sports Drive.
Has just become the NFL's all-time leading rusher. Across the middle, and it's caught for the first. It's Baldwin shaking free and sprinting down the sideline for the touchdown. His third of the day. Doug Baldwin.
Derrick Brooks, who ran back 3 interceptions for touchdowns in the regular season, does it to cement the Super Bowl.
Boxing's elite, the new WBA heavyweight champion of the world, Roy Jones Jr.
Baldwin beaten. The result has come up on screens that Gatlin's taken it. Goodness me, it was a blue American vest. 992 the Gatlin. 992 by the American champion to take gold.
Another Watson is wearing a green jacket at Augusta. And this time, his name is Bubba. Scores on a 34-yard touchdown run by the Doak Walker Award winner, Trent Richardson, who broke a lot of Emmett Smith's records back in Pensacola, Florida.
And welcome into the Sports Drive right here on ESPN Pensacola, 1330 AM, 99.1 FM. Simulcast each and every day on Blab TV. I'm Chad Brilliante on the other side of the glass. JP, you can catch him on Talk Football with Coach K, the former NFL coach, each and every afternoon from 12 to 1. And also a guy that can throw 10 miles faster than I can in baseball. So there you go. Oh.
All right.
Are you getting...
Not anymore. Make that clear.
The funniest part is when we first did the show, one of the first events you came out to gracefully. I don't even think you were actually officially getting a part of a paycheck yet, but you came out and but he came out there. You supported ESPN Pensacola. You were out there for the event, and we already knew you were part of the team. You're already here, but you weren't. You know what I mean? And we sat there, and I remember throwing the football around. And, you got to see a little of the sidearm action, the Rich Gannon. But the first throw, Justin Patrick, if you're out there listening, they all saw this. It was public knowledge. It was people tailgating for UWF. But, this thing just slipped right out of the dirt. It looked like Dr. Fauci's first pitch. It was bad. And, the first moment, he's like, is this guy serious? Is this guy there? So right after that, we were supposed to go back to the event. And immediately I'm like, let's go throw the football. Because they're like, no, we got stuff to do. I'm like, we're coming out here. You're going to see the arm. Uncle Rico over these mountains because we're not playing games. So at least you got to see, I could spiral at sidearm.
That's after I got in trouble for sitting in a chair.
That's right.
Which I didn't know was
there will be no more.
Chair.
Well, and that all leads to this. That was all at UWF events, and that will not be happening this year. Now, this was sort of one of those inevitable. I hate it. You hate it. We talked about it before here. We got into this business because we love sports. We're actually sports guys, which is very rare today in radio. If you listen to the shows, I crack up at shows like Dan Lebitard. I have a blast listening. But that doesn't mean that I believe that if you ask a certain guy, an NHL, an NBA, an NFL, a Major League Baseball question, they can answer it. I can tell you wholeheartedly, if you ask me or JP, we were watching the games. I watched the New Orleans Pelicans D-League action last night when they were giving Kendrick Williams some props for going up again. The sad part is Sacramento's whole team is like the same. So their bench players a lot of times their bench is probably worth like $150 million with guys out there like Harrison Barnes and bringing Buddy Hield off the bench to shoot. So they're good to go. But for UWF, we hate sitting here and assuming things and talking about what might happen when frankly they're going to either play or they're not. And they're either going to go out in the field or they're not. And it's up to the players. People called out Trevor Lawrence today. Don't speak on behalf of us. Even though we agree a lot with what Trevor had to say, other athletes like, you don't speak for all of us, which they're right. When it comes down right now to college football, though, it was inevitable that UWF wasn't financially going to be able to support it. And it's not because they don't have the money or great. That's not a knock on anybody out there as an alumni. It's just based on that we're talking about millions and millions in testing. And it's not just them. Gulf South Conference in general, places like Huntsville, going to Carrollton, might not have the same funds. But it didn't even matter because there's bigger leagues than them, like the Mountain West in Division I, the MAC, that weren't going to be able to survive. So it was just a matter of time. And I feel my heart goes out to all these kids today, JP. I mean, that's the main thing. Austin Reed and these good kids. That Austin Reed has proven, Quentin Randolph, the way he played last year, and I know he's done, but those guys have proven that they could play at the next level, and they would be D1 studs. And they're not going to get to play this year until at least 2021 or whatever happens. But UWF making that announcement today, my heart goes out to all those
Well,
kids.
we talked to Coach Shinnick today on Talk Football with Coach K, and obviously he's heartbroken. And you hear coaches say, I hate it for the kids. Some of the coaches are like, yeah, but you're still getting these millions of dollars. So, it is what it is. And with Coach Shinnick, though, it doesn't matter what he's making. He's just such a genuine person. You can hear it in his voice that deep down in his heart he hates this. And he doesn't necessarily hate it. It's a bummer for him. He wants to go out there and coach as well. But for these players, because of what they put in and day out, what this coaching staff, he always raves about his coaching staff. When they won the national championship, he was like, hey, it wasn't me. It was those guys. And he's always been that way. And you go back to his father and the way that he was raised with his father and being around the game like that, he's learned so much. And for those athletes out there, remember they got so many Division I transfers in. This team they reloaded. I mean, they lost so much talent. They weren't rebuilding. They were reloading and coming out. And like Coach Shinnick said today on the show, he goes, we were ready because we knew everybody was going to give us their best game because we had a target on our back. And everybody wants to beat the national champions. That's just how it is. And they were finally the national champions. And you're talking about starting off with Texas A&M Commerce, like how much fun that was going to be at Blue Wahoo Stadium. That was kind of a get-back game there when you're talking about the 2017 national championship. But, as of playing in the spring, we asked him about that as well. He said maybe like a 5-game schedule. It may be one of the things where you go out and you kind of scrimmage against another team. It's going to be very tough, and we'll see what happens. But nonetheless, Coach Shinnick, like he said, well, regardless, we're moving forward, and we're going to take every opportunity we can to get in the weight room, get out there and condition, and get better for next year, whatever next year is, whether it's January or February or whether it's in August or September. And that's just how Coach Shinnick is. But I mean, I can't imagine. Us as fans, we follow the team closely. We love them. I can't imagine what they feel like right now. That's just, God, I mean, it's just got to suck. I mean, it is what it is.
It does, and at this point, it doesn't mean the season is officially done, but it's not happening this year. And it's not just going to be for football, even basketball. Coach Burkhammer, Coach Stephanie Yelton right there, friends with mine. Ed Spears is one of my friends right there, and Ed's a lucky man. He knows that. And he always, when I get those selfies with his wife, I'm like, hey, he knows I'm married too. He's like, your wife wouldn't. But when we have an opportunity to go out there and talk to all the different sports, it's not just football. We cover football. We know it's the bread and butter. But Coach Fell on the golf team, or talking to Coach Bart Linsky, he walks in our neighborhood. I think we always sort of do one of those, like, I'm getting the mail waves. But Coach Bart, if you're listening, I know who you are. I'm like, he probably doesn't want to get in conversation with me. Those they'll go like 20 minutes. I'm like, he's looking at his watch, like, I got to get going. We're friends with everybody across the board. Coach Racine, what he's done in tennis.
Well, Coach Walter too with volleyball.
Coach Jeff Coate, you're
Yeah, I mean, hopefully
hopefully
they're not. Hopefully spring we can get back on track. But even you talk about football, and no disrespect to the other sports that are obviously a part of this, like volleyball. But with Coach Walter and them, they have a fantastic team every year too. I mean, they're always right there in the hunt. So we cover football so closely.
Yeah.
But think about every single student athlete that this affects right now. This just stinks.
And Coach Walter is awesome. She's an awesome person. There's some just cool people. She's awesome. And she was like, look, this stinks. This really stinks. She wasn't trying to undercut it, but she also understands. And remember, this is somebody that was diagnosed with breast cancer and battled. So I know, going through family members, that everybody has family members that have sicknesses or illness that I hope you're more respectful for. If somebody does have diabetes, then you probably don't want to get too close to them. Things like that. It's just one of these kind of things. And here are some of the statements from the coaches. Pete Shinnick, as a team, we are disappointed that we will not have the opportunity to play in front of our great fans at Blue Wahoo Stadium and defend our national championship this season. As we move forward, we look forward to having an opportunity to compete this spring. And as a program, we plan to continue to seek arete, right? Is that how you say it?
Arete,
yeah.
Arete?
Arete, arete, yeah. Not a word I've ever used in my. I know what it means.
Yeah.
It means to seize the day, and inspire. And but arete.
That's Italian.
Arete. Arete daily. To be inspired daily. Pete's going to take. He finds any way to be optimistic. You don't build a program from scratch and have a negative attitude. To build a college football program from scratch,
Good luck.
Look, I've helped build networks from scratch and other things.
What, you build a sandwich from scratch?
Yeah, you've seen me.
Sometimes.
That's getting gas just in my car, getting an oil change. But from building a program from scratch is not easy. Coach Bart Linsky, when some organizations see these kind of events as setbacks, we look at this as a great opportunity. Coach Stephanie Lawrence Yelton, who won a national title, by the way, at UNC as a player, too. Postponing the start of the season is the right decision to be made at this time. Pushing the start of the season to January gives us a bit more time to train our athletes in a healthy and safe manner before competition. We look forward to our athletes arriving on campus later this month. After not seeing them for 6 months since the COVID outbreak, this is an opportunity. Jeff Burkhammer, we are very disappointed for our players, but we understand these are challenging times. We will use the fall semester to improve individual skills and to work hard on academics. We look forward to playing the games in January and look forward to things getting back to normal. So you can see all of them. When a coach says we're disappointed, we've all had conversations with beers and gone out there and talked privately. And when somebody publicly says something that we're disappointed, that means that it's strong in their heart. They really, really, really want to play. It's easy for some people to say, no, you know what? This is the right thing to do. Right time. Let's move on. But if someone's like starts their sentence with like, man, I feel for these kids, or it's disappointing, what they really mean is, gosh, this really, really stinks. And then they understand, but they also have a huge heart for all the work that they and their players have put in. So it's going to be a tough time. And, I know this was the big announcement today, but we sort of saw it coming. And we are the home for UWF football here. Blab TV covers the game. So everything as a sports director, I'm in the middle of all this. I was looking back at some of the pictures that we've done, and heck, it's like 75 events that we did last year. So it was a big part of our life every Saturday. And it's not going to happen this year. But that doesn't mean maybe we can get some reruns going. You can still give a score update with the buffering going on at a Lenore Ryan game.
Didn't they?
That's a big moment right there. You'll go down in history for that.
Didn't Blab TV do the Blue Wahoos reruns? Can we get some UWF reruns?
They've talked about it.
Let's get it going.
I was in the emails. They're going to get that going.
Love to watch that.
Yeah, they will. They'll make that happen. But remember that just because most of the sports, cross country and golf, will still happen. I was looking at that today. Designated low risk. That makes sense. I mean, it's hard to it would be hard to tell golf or cross country that you can't social distance. Heck, cross country is social distance.
Spread
you
out.
Don't see them.
Cross country.
Yeah,
spread out.
And in golf, we've seen it work. Nobody this week was watching that tournament like, oh, Brooks Koepka is struggling here in the back nine. And one thing is, he's getting a little too close to that cameraman. Like nobody, most of the people.
The cameramen have been berated by these guys. By the way, they've been. It's so funny because when the fans aren't there, it changes everything. These guys want fans back more than anybody.
So that was the news today out of UWF, and we'll keep you posted with anything change right here. You can go to our Facebook page at ESPN Pensacola 1330 99.1. Trying to do a good job each and every day to update everybody on what's going on. How about the Suns in the bubble, by the way? I know it's not like a number one topic for everybody, but 7-0.
What if they don't make the playoffs, though? If you did everything you could, I mean.
The great part is the Western Conference playoffs, the finals, if some of these 7 or 8s get in, I'd be a little scared right now.
I would not want to. And by the way, I read an article that talked about these teams are tanking, not tanking, but losing because they want Damian Lillard and the Trailblazers to face the Lakers because they feel that the Trailblazers could actually give the Lakers the best series there and possibly take them down. I'll tell you what, right now the Trailblazers look good. I mean, they really do. Damian Lillard, I said this last week. You were talking about a player to watch and whatever. He is just taking over. I mean, like we've never seen him take over. This team's healthy. They're getting better. If I'm the Lakers right now, I know the Lakers are good, obviously.
Yeah.
This is still a team that can sting you real quick.
You want to hear a ditty right now?
I do. Always want to hear one.
This is pretty bad.
Just don't want to see one.
I mean, this is not one of these like in 1974 in Green Bay, in games that are below 30, the team is 7-4, and you're like, I don't know what to do with that.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll say, am I betting this team? Like, you wait for everybody watches those. You know how much of the line movement is like College Game Day, which is sad? Frankly, if you follow it, whatever Lee Corso puts on his head, you should just take the opposite and make money. But when it comes down to the NBA, out of every team in the bubble, and we're talking about, remember, 22 teams, a lot of teams that were not supposed to be there. The starting lineup, without Avery Bradley because he's not there, but the starting lineup for the Lakers, LeBron, Anthony Davis, JaVale McGee, Danny Green, and Kendavius Caldwell-Pope, that has the worst plus-minus ratio of any team in all the bubble.
I could believe that.
That's pretty sad, though.
Yeah.
I mean, we're talking about some teams like Brooklyn, who Kyrie Irving's not even there. Where Brooklyn at? Half their team's not there, and they're crushing the numbers of LeBron, of Anthony Davis, of guys like Danny Green, who just won a title with Toronto. See, KCP just got paid a bunch. JaVale McGee, he can jump 8,000 feet in the air. So all of that's just really sad.
Free Caruso.
Free Caruso.
Gotta let Caruso play.
And Dwight Howard, alley-oop, baby.
Kyle Kuzma.
Yeah,
Kyle Kuzma saying I could start for just about anybody else, but
you make a couple threes and don't get overboard here. Look, you got. I've said from day one. Fred Robbins and I had this conversation, but I'm taking the Clippers still. I mean, I'm not. The regular season NBA, don't buy into it too much.
No.
But Kawhi Leonard and Paul George, Paul George has been a guy that stepped up his game in big moments, but the difference is he also has never had a supporting cast, ever. And now he has a situation where he's got the guy. Kawhi Leonard right now is the man when it comes to supporting cast because he took a Toronto team, and if it literally wasn't for his shots against teams like Philadelphia, they wouldn't have won.
Well, Montrezl Harrell's back now.
Yeah, and he's a beast off the bench.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Now they've got their team back, and I pick the Bucks because I really want the Bucks to win. Outside of Giannis headbutting a guy yesterday,
which by the way, the NBA suspending him for the final seeding game. Let's get it to you right here.
He was going to sit out.
He was going to sit.
Anyway.
Dante DiVincenzo would have started for him anyway. So let's all. Pat Connaughton's like, woohoo!
He straight up headbutted the guy too, and typically that probably would have got you a couple games. But the NBA said, "No, we can't.
I love it.
We can't afford." I do too. I do. Yeah. I'm all for it.
The NBA for what they've done, everything about it. I really. This is the only thing, and I'm happy to be in. Right here with a beautiful family, awesome daughter. But Orlando is a city that I do miss that. I do miss getting to go because I'd be there right now covering the games for our other station. And it would have been fun to go back and watch some of these games. But the way that the Phoenix Suns, they had their actual family do the starting lineups, how cool was that?
Yeah, I saw that.
That was really cool. I mean, these guys haven't seen their families outside of FaceTime. And don't say it's the same. It's not the same. Half your parents don't even know how to use it. They're like, what is this? Their nose is up in the camera.
Can you see me?
Exactly. So all of that being said, they got to see their families, a lot of them. Like Ricky Rubio got to see his family in Spain. A lot of them couldn't even travel to come see you. His whole family was out there. Big family, too.
Lou Williams.
But, his family of girls back in Magic City, giving the intros.
Holding the wing.
They should have get the guy. Now starting. Shooting guard. Right behind Cinnamon. Lou. Magic City William. Get him going in there. But it was a lot of that was cool. Everything the NBA's done so far.
That was awesome.
Applaud it right there. When we come back, we'll get to some NBA, NHL. How about if you're a Tampa Bay Lightning fan, you might just be getting to sleep.
Got a story
after really 6-hour game, 5 overtimes right there, getting it done. Listening to the Chief. I was listening to the Chief last night, watching that. And a big win right there. Tampa Bay, one of the teams that even though the SPHL doesn't have direct affiliates, they're their independent league. The Lightning are our affiliate. I mean, we do everything from the caravans. Yeah, that's the team. So pretty excited right there to watch that game. 5 overtime win. And the playoffs have started. If you want to watch some big hitting out there, the NHL is getting it done. NBA, big games coming up here tonight. And we'll get to more on the NBA. Well, they had a snitch line, which really is just, hey, I want to save my money and play. Really not much of a snitch line. Well, the NFL is doing it as well this year outside of the bubble, which might bring up some questions. How are you going to monitor it? And also might bring up some questions. How many different voices does Bill Belichick have? We're coming back for more Sports Drive on ESPN Pensacola, Blab TV.
There has never been a more important time than now to work for a trucking company you can count on. Schneider was founded over 85 years ago during the Great Depression. We've thrived through the good times and the bad, providing truck drivers consistent work and paychecks. Today is no different. Schneider remains loaded and moving while adding new customers because of the outstanding service our drivers provide. Schneider is a company that drivers can always count on. Apply today at schneiderjobs.com.
Individuals and businesses with tax problems, listen carefully. Do you feel like you're losing control of your finances? If you owe over $10,000 in back taxes or have unfiled tax returns, we can help you take back control. The IRS is the largest and most aggressive collection agency in the world, and they can seize your bank accounts, garnish your paycheck, close your business, and file criminal charges. Take control of your tax problem now by calling the experts at U.S. Tax Shield and take advantage of the Fresh Start program and new laws that may allow us to negotiate a settlement for the lowest amount possible. Our team of tax attorneys and enrolled agents can stop collections and get you protected so you can take control of your financial future. U.S. Tax Shield offers a price protection guaranteed quote to get you protected today. U.S. Tax Shield is A+ rated with the Better Business Bureau, so call now. 800-687-5192. That's 800-687-5192. U.S. Tax Shield. 800-687-5192.
I'm little teapot, short and stout.
Here is my handle and here is my spout.
No, Dad, like this. When I get all steamed up, then I shout, tip me over and pour me out.
This is WWE superstar Roman Reigns. It only takes a moment to make a moment. Take time to be a dad today.
Visit fatherhood.gov, brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
Hello, sports fans. Miles Bentley here, General Manager at Hill Kelly Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram in Pensacola. Growing up, I always loved sports. Nothing but net, out of the park, through the uprights. Sink the puck Bentley, that was me. But my love of the game couldn't beat my love for Pensacola and helping folks get on the road of dreams in a new Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram. Sure, I never went to the big leagues in sport, but we're all pro here at Hill Kelly Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram. Proud to be in Pensacola.
Tiger Point Golf Club in Gulf Breeze is a social distancing paradise designed by Pensacola golfing legend Jerry Pate and run by the #1 golf course management company in the U.S., Troon Golf. Tiger Point Golf Club offers daily specials for military, kids play free with a paying adult, and earn free rounds of golf with the Troon Golf Rewards program. After your round, stop by the Sunset Grill for your favorite Southern cuisine. Book a reservation today at TigerPointGolf.com, because when it comes to playing 18 holes in paradise, just point to one place, Tiger Point.
We do sports, and that's all we do. We're your hometown sports station, ESPN Pensacola, 1330 AM, 99.1 FM.
And welcome back, Sports Drive, ESPN Pensacola, 1330 AM, 99.1 FM, simulcast each every day on Blab TV. Well, Anthony Lynn, the head coach of the LA Chargers, your former quarterback. I know you're a Gator now, but your former Oregon Duck quarterback there,
Still
Justin Herbert. Yeah, he's got. I know. They're still there. Have you switched over to Reebok or Adidas now or something? Not Adidas.
Jordan Brand.
Okay.
It's a Jordan
Brand. When it comes down to Anthony Lynn, though, he told his players he tested positive. This shouldn't. I mean, first off, a lot of people. You start having conversations, and more people are like, "Yeah, I had it." But he started the show by letting people know. And the first episode of NFL Hard Knocks that, I was a little surprised. The NFL from day one, though, has not budged. They're just like, we're going about our business. What's one team, if you could pick, though? Because I'm a little intrigued to see how they do that behind the scenes. Because even the media right now, we don't have a hometown team. Like, if we were in New Orleans, that's our closest team, we would be out there in Metairie at some of the practices, getting some interviews like Mike Triplett does. But right now, we need to understand that the NFL, they've always been a little bit of their own league, secret, on a lot of things. NFL Hard Knocks opened up the doors to a lot of that. We saw good old Gin Gut out there, Jeff Fisher, making some bad calls before his team went downhill. There's been a lot of them that we had a lot of players that we sort of fell in love with the Houston Texans, some of it. You sort of, even though we make jokes about Bill O'Brien, you also have more of a heart knowing that he goes to home and he has a child with special needs and he's seems to be a good dad and a good man. And people like that have a heart. We don't know all the stories, but NFL Hard Knocks sort of makes them human again because we dehumanize so many athletes and we don't care what they do as long as they go out there and they can throw a 60-yard spiral right over the top for a touchdown. That's why there's so many times we fight for guys that have domestic abuse charges against them to go out there and win us a game, get them back in the league. Because it's important because they're really good at football. NFL Hard Knocks opens that up, and Anthony Lynn started by letting people know that he has it, and he said, be patient. This is going to be one of these that we're going to have a long journey ahead, but cash it or smash it. You think the NFL is going to be able to get through the whole season?
I will cash that. I really do.
I will
think
too.
It's going to be tough, obviously, with everything, but the NFL has more money than anybody else. So if anybody can pull this off, the NFL will be able to.
I think they can, and on top of that, I think that just like other leagues, there's going to be some hiccups, but these leagues will say, hey, you know what? We'll go ahead and deal with that. Most of them, there's not going to be a full-out outbreak. We've done enough research to know that a lot of these teams are testing 0 positive players. A couple of them have 1 or 2. Remember, a groundskeeper and an assistant coach got it, and it became like, witchcraft, what was going on in St. Louis. And then 1 or 2 players got it, and they canceled a couple games. So when we hear about it, it's going to be news. And if a guy gets it on one of these teams, it's going to be public knowledge. But I think they'll be able to pull it off, too. Leagues are showing that around here, and I think they will. But they also have a line. They call it a snitch line, but here's the deal. It's not a snitch line if it's detrimental to your life, to your family. It doesn't take too many steps down the pyramid to know that if a bunch of players are going out partying, and when I used to do bottle service at one of the places in Vegas, some of the athletes that would come in the game, there wasn't even a team called the Raiders at that time. But what we do know with these guys, they're going to go out and party. Some of them are. But if you can just calm them down a little to say, hey, don't be stupid all the time. Don't go out to these huge rave parties. Don't go fist pumping out there in that place, Tomorrowland out there in Belgium, which looks really sweet, but anytime without COVID. But, don't go to a place like that. Just be responsible enough to know that the more people you hang around late at night, the more that those people, by the way, have already been hanging around late at night people, so they're out and about all the time. So there's a better chance that spirals. They get that, and they understand that. But there's already penalties in place if they do. And also, a lot of these athletes, if they do it, now they call it a snitch line. The NBA's doing this too. I got no problem with that. Some people are like, you're going to rat them out. If it affects whether the season continues, which means it affects if you get paid, whether your family is able to live that lifestyle, whether all those implements, whether your job is in jeopardy, that's not snitching. If somebody breaks in your house right now and starts stealing things and you see them, they're like in a mask and they're like this, and he's like, you going to rat on me, bro? You going to call the cops? You're lucky I didn't get my gun already. That's not snitching at that point.
That's the same people that say when somebody breaks in and they're whatever, and people, they shoot them when they break in their house.
And they feel for
and they're
them.
like, how dare you value objects over human life? Well, apparently they do too because they broke into my house, so they knew what they were getting into.
Yeah. It's
same thing on that.
People that immediately defend people that do negative things, and there's lines of it. The harshness of it, and we don't need to get, because that would go down a political road. I don't want to go down, but some people defend people over little things. If you have a toothpick in your mouth and you throw it on the side of the street and you got SWAT coming in because you littered, you'd be like, come on, bro. Seriously? Dusty Baker would be in jail for years. But if somebody's out there and he's beating up a kid at a park and they come in and they tase him and then shoot him or something, and you're like, man, you didn't need to do that. Be like, did you see this guy beating up a kid for no reason? Be like, that guy gets what he deserves. We are seeing it in public. What do you think he does to that kid in private? That's called a bad human.
Yeah.
So I'm going to sit here and say that all the time. I have no problem with that. But it leads me to my next point here, the snitch line. Cash it or smash it. Some of these things you'll see go down this year in the NFL. Bill Belichick will call on QBs. They are playing in 2 weeks to get ahead of it and say things like, quote, hey, I saw Aaron Rodgers. He was leaving. He was about to get some meals. Cashier smash.
Yeah,
You got
cashier.
cash out?
Yeah,
Okay, all right.
typically. Yeah.
Definitely what happened. Someone will confuse answering a member of the football team, and the guy will be like, what team is that? No, the football team. Sir, is this a prank? And they'll hang up the phone.
Yes, that's going to happen.
Yeah, I saw
They're
two
gonna
guys
say,
in the
yeah,
football team leaving.
Like,
yeah.
what football team?
What football team? I don't have much time here.
Football
I'm
team.
on this right here. It's an emergency hotline. You got to get off him.
Yeah, that's going to happen.
All right. Jameis, one of his calls, he'll be calling in on somebody. Now he's living life good. He's been in before.
Is he going to like Boston, by the way?
What do you think?
Is Cam going to like Boston?
We'll bring that up later.
Yeah, we'll talk about that later. I'm curious.
I'm deflecting that one.
Right.
Jameis Winston, his call will be intercepted and directed into another call.
Yes, doesn't matter what it is. Whatever he's doing, it's going to get intercepted.
His call will be intercepted. And okay.
Slim Jameis, by the way.
There you
He's
go.
Slim.
Yeah, he is.
He's slimmed up.
Long neck. Right?
He knows crab
Yeah.
legs.
That shot of his neck, I didn't. But Andy Reid will be called out for a late night double cheeseburger. Like somebody will see him out at a place like In-N-Out Burger after a game against like the Chargers.
I'm going to smash that because he's going to have it delivered.
Great point.
See?
The conversation has happened this week. That's
Grubhub or whatever it is. There you go. Delivered.
Cam Newton will get called out for going out to the club, but he's really just showing up for morning practice dressed like somebody that just spent $5,000 on a tire for a gala.
I will say, yeah, cash that. I think he's going to get called out regardless because he's going to do something. He's not going to be able to stay cooped.
Mitch Trubisky will start to cry on behalf of somebody else getting called out.
He's probably already done that. So yeah,
I think so.
I think he's already started.
Yeah. Saints will make a pact not to snitch on anybody because they live in New Orleans, baby, and they're like, hey, we're going to go out anyways.
That's a fact.
Yeah,
you don't snitch on your brothers in
Don't
New
say
Orleans.
anything in New Orleans. We're going out. Bourbon Street.
Yeah.
See him in Bourbon, you just give him the wink and say, put your phone away.
They're going to the brewery down there.
If anything, girl goes to fan like, oh my gosh, it's Alvin Kamara. And be like, put your phone away, girl. Don't do that. Don't do that. Not doing it today. Not today. Cam Jordan was never here. Also, John Gruden will fake a call snitch line to the NFL just to teach them how a snitch line will work.
No, his assistants will.
Okay.
And then he'll jump in. Yeah, his assistants will do it, but then he'll jump in and do that. Yeah.
Hey, Derek Carr's at the movies. All right, we got Derek Carr down. I'm just kidding with you guys. We're like, it was just a test. All right, Kyle Shanahan will be good for the entire season, and then right before the big game, getting ready for the playoffs, will snitch on himself because he just fumbles in a pressure. He'll call himself out for like, oh my gosh, I went to the club last night. I can't do this. Be like the final minute right there in the Super Bowl, he'll call himself out.
No, he'll actually do that on accident because he just screwed up again.
Oh, right. He'll think he's calling his friend, and what's actually happening is like, bro, man, I met the coolest people last night at the club.
When crunch
I was
time,
out all
he
night
screws
long.
up.
You're like, you're talking to the NFL right now, and that's illegal. Cam Newton will, yes, we'll talk some more. Let's go to the phone lines, 850-623-1330. Caller, who's this?
Company with information from
there
a
you
rental
go.
company right there.
Rental.
Snitch line right there. They're getting there as well. Look at that.
All right, I got that.
Yeah, there you go. Phillip Rivers. Yeah, get that back up. Phillip Rivers will go out, but nobody will believe him because he has 12 kids and he's not.
That's true.
So
that is a fact.
He's like, guys, I was out. I apologize. I'm a good human, good man of faith. I'm ratting myself out here, and they're like, no, you didn't.
No, they'll actually let him go out because he has 12 kids, and they're like, no, let the man go out. Let him go out. Okay,
do whatever
this is
he wants,
the only time he has. Yeah.
See him at like a Latin club out there dancing out there. Fist bump. Speaking of that, Rob Gronkowski will convince the caller that is calling to rat him out to come out and party with him in Neon.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
I
mean, it would work for me if I was snitching on him.
Just saw Gronk leave, man. He's like, psst, you want to come with me? Hang up the phone.
Let's go to the yacht.
Hang on. Dude, if we get in trouble here, man, we're done. Just come on, man. I got like 15 girls and a couple keggers. I'm down. Let's go. Make that. Ezekiel Elliott will have a Mission Impossible mask like Tom Cruise wears, knowing that it's inevitable he breaks the rules week 1.
Yeah, I'd say cash that too.
Hello, my name is John Stevens. I have a reservation. You don't need reservations. You just want to go to the club, man? Got some bottles for you? Yes.
It's a dinner party. It's a dinner party. Dak's going to be there. Just a couple friends.
So there it is. There, Jamal Adams will go out, and Seattle will call on him, and then he'll ask for a trade.
Yeah, he will go wherever the best team is. So he'll try to go probably Kansas City or somebody. Yeah.
Yeah, he'll just ask for a trade. Yeah. He'll be upset.
Yeah, he'll snitch on himself if things don't go his way, and then he'll try to go to Kansas City.
So there he is, the bubble right there, getting rolling here.
Bubble, baby.
And you'll see it this year. It's gonna look. The NFL is gonna play. They don't have time for all this. From day one, they have not. from like in the most crucial time back in like the second week, third week of March. NFL was like, no, we're good. They even had like, how much money do you think they paid to have an NFL draft with like 8,000 cameras? They sent trucks and crews. And I know, and people at Blab TV back in the studio, how much it costs for trucks and crews. We've been on staffs with WFGX and others. That's not cheap. And when it comes down to being able to do that at all, the top like 68 players and then all the GMs, all the coaches' houses, they didn't care. They're like, we're doing it. They didn't stop them from a draft. They could have done like some text line. Could have done a Twitter draft. Like, oh, just popped up on the bubble.
Old school.
Oh, look at that.
Give them the phone call.
Yeah. Tell them to Zoom meeting with all the guys. Roger Goodell, hey, Zoom in. Did you call Joe Burrow or his mom? That's his mom's number? Like, I'm be like, this is terrible, right? They pulled it off. They can do it. NFL will be fun.
Yeah.
We'll go to break. We'll come back. We'll talk some more of what's going on right now with the NHL, NBA, and also the Big 12 making the decision to play football, which, you know what, is the first stepping stone to the SEC and ACC having a lot of pressure to pretty much do the inevitable at this point. We're coming back for more Sports Drive on ESPN Pensacola and Blab TV.
Pensacola's own NFL Hall of Famer Emmitt Smith has some tips for us during this time.
This fight is up to all of us to try to help bend that curve. It's going to take teamwork. It's going to take us to stay committed, stay focused, and stay dedicated to the mission at hand, and that is to keep everyone safe. So be encouraging. Find some support. Find someone to talk to every day to encourage them to keep on continuing in this fight. And we will beat this pandemic.
Bowling is a sport that will last you a lifetime, and at Cordova Lanes on Airport Boulevard, every night there is something exciting happening. Like on Tuesday and Thursday, it's penny a pin. Bowl 100, pay $1. Or how about starting your weekend off right by reserving a lane for just $25 at Moonlight Bowling. Enjoy a fresh-made pizza and the lowest pitcher prices in Pensacola. So what are you waiting for? It's time to roll your way into Cordova Lanes and experience fun like never before.
Diabetes, high blood pressure, anxiety meds, everyone's on them. If you're a 50-year-old male, maybe a bit beefy, and you may even have type 2 diabetes, $1 million of term insurance may only cost you about $200 a month. Call Term Provider. Speak with Big Lou at 800-285-4954. Big Lou will find a term life policy for you even if you have type 2 diabetes, are overweight, or have high blood pressure. Term Provider has helped thousands of people like you who think they can't afford term life insurance. To buy $1 million of affordable term life for you, all you need to do is call Big Lou at 800-285-4954. Lou will make sure the scales are tipped in your favor. Call 800-285-4954. Big Lou will answer your call and work to fit you into a term life policy that you can afford. Remember, Big Lou's like you. He's on meds, too. Call 800-285-4954. 800-285-4954.
Ferocious flavor has landed at Tropical Smoothie Cafe. It's bold, it's different, it's refreshing, it's dragon fruit. We're using real dragon fruit to blend up our fearsomely flavorful new dragon fruit smoothie. Try one today, paired with a fan favorite Super Green Caesar chicken wrap or a Chipotle Chicken Club flatbread for a powerfully tasty combo. Slay your cravings at Tropical Smoothie Cafe. Eat better, feel better.
Well, I finally did it. My student loan is totally paid off.
What? What about our plan to win the lottery and start living? You know, travel the world on matching yachts, wear enough jewelry to require a bodyguard, vacation on the French Riviera, and then buy it.
You know we're never going to win the lottery, right?
When it comes to financial stability, don't get left behind. Get tools and tips for saving at feedthepig.org. This message brought to you by the American Institute of CPAs, the Florida Society of CPAs, and the Ad Council.
You can watch Chad on the Sports Drive live right now on our YouTube channel at ESPN Pensacola 1330.
Close to you right now, it's a force field. I wear my heart up on my sleeve like a big deal. Your love pours down on me, surround me like a waterfall. And there's no stopping us right now. I feel so close.
And welcome back, Sports Drive, ESPN Pensacola, 1330 AM, 99.1 FM, simulcast each every day here on Blab TV. Well, looking at some of the games going on right now, that's one thing that, as a sports fan, you can't argue. During the times with the bubbles between the NHL and the NBA, to get all the games in based on they're all in the same areas, outside of the 2 stadiums for Canada in the NHL, is that there's games all day. So if you're a sports fan, those days, like, and we all know you. You know, some of these people that retire early and they're like, yeah, I win every bet. And like, nobody wins every bet. I live in Vegas. We do this for a living. People pick my brain. Who do you like? People are like, who do you like every week? I'm like, if you're betting on this, I like Vegas. That's what I like. I'm not talking about the Golden Knights either. But games all day long, which is cool to watch. 108-104, the Indiana Pacers with the win today over the Rockets. Also in soccer, Paris Saint-Germain getting the win right there, 2-1 over Atalanta. And then in baseball right now, well, no shocker at Coors Field. It is 13-7 with more runs about to get piled on out there in Coors Field. If you get announced like you're a rookie pitcher in Coors Field, could you like start throwing stuff? Like,
I start coughing.
Oh my gosh, this is unbelievable!
I just cough.
I didn't hear it. Pull a John Elway. I don't want to be there. I'm good. We're good.
What a weird division, by the way, the NL West. You know, the Padres and the Dodgers are tied. Then you've got the Rockies right now are leading the division. Who the heck knows with the Diamondbacks?
Braves-Yankees tonight.
Ooh, that wasn't so good for the Braves last night.
Markakis' swing right there in the short board should take a few. Freddie Freeman.
I love Markakis.
That whole team, the biggest thing with the Atlanta Braves right now is they got a lot of clutch hitters. Their pitching staff's not going to be able to cut it.
Stinks.
It's not good at all.
No. It's that Soroka going down.
And then Fulton Avitz, remember, was one of the starters last year, and he just completely imploded. And they put him on get him out of here. Yeah. Option him out.
And then nobody picked him up either, and then he just came right back to the Braves. It's like,
yeah. That's a sad moment. That's like when you've handed somebody your divorce papers and all that, and like, here you go. And then after a couple weeks, something happens where you're like, your kids come to you and they cry. They're like, this is not happening. And then you're like, all right. I'll get back with your mom. And then you guys do. Still, like, the first week it's not like a rejoicing time, you know? You clearly, if your kids, and she's in the room while your kids are like, you can't do that. Like, that's the same thing what happened with Mike Fulton-Avitz. Like, the Braves in the locker room be like, hey, Mike, getting going? Like, do you guys care? You don't even like me. I'm like, okay. He's got a point there. Right now in the NHL, the Arizona Coyotes, to see them in the playoffs is cool to see. Yeah, for some, I guess. Colorado, the game that probably by me announcing this to this area, the most meaningless announcement to like most of the people, like, hey, the Arizona Coyotes and the Colorado Avalanche are going right now. Like so many.
Coyotes beat the Preds. That's why I'm shaking my head.
People in the South are like, what just happened? Boston getting the win in overtime. Leading the series against the Hurricanes. Rocked them like a Hurricanes right there. And then New York Islanders, sort of been the outcast of a lot of New York sports right there. Rick DiPietro's contract, 15 years for like $165 million. 15. And he played 3 years. That was the worst contract ever. And
they still paying him?
Yeah, they're still paying him. He's the Bobby Bonilla of and he's you don't do that for a goalie.
Nobody's the Bobby Bonilla. Bobby Bonilla will be big. Look,
but if
Frank
you are,
Gore
it's in
will
New York.
retire before Bobby Bonilla does not get paid.
But if you are, it's always New York. And the Islanders with a 4-2 win over Washington today. Looking at some of the other ones, look, Jerry Jones, they're trying to get stuff out of him, and he's like, we're going to
Jerry Jones, by the way.
We're going to show grace. Yeah, he said that. He goes, he's been steadfast in his beliefs that players should stand for the national anthem, but the Dallas Cowboys owners and general managers did not say if a policy will be in effect. By him saying that is a step in the right direction.
It's the best answer he could have gave because obviously, and watching Max Kellerman and Stephen A. and those guys, they're waiting, and they ridicule you no matter what, but they want him to say something. And everybody wants him to say something because they know how he feels. Yeah. I thought that answer right there was the greatest, you know what?
Yeah.
Good for you, Jerry, because no matter whether you agree or disagree with it, we know how he feels. But it is what it is. I mean, he's not going to give you the answer. If he would have came out and said, they can absolutely kneel, they can do it, you know what? They would be like, he's a bold-faced liar.
Exactly.
He's a liar.
There was nothing. You can't win on some. Yeah. If Jerry Jones would have came out at the beginning and said, look, I completely flipped my script and I'm going with this, everybody would be like, you're so full of it. Yep. You know. And the same thing with the owners. The number one thing is actions speak louder than words. Always do. They always do. When the 32 owners, remember when back 4 years ago with Kaepernick, when they were all like, "Oh, we're fully behind him and support this," and other people are like, "All right, so go ahead and pick him up," because at that time,
I just haven't fit our team right now.
Yeah, exactly. At that time, he clearly was one of the best. At that time, he was definitely one of the best 64 quarterbacks. You can argue it now because he's been out of the league, but at that time, he just came off a Super Bowl a couple years before that, where he was there in the Super Bowl and was third in the MVP voting. People like J.T. O'Sullivan's and backup quarterbacks like T.J. Yates, they're never in that. There's never been like report T.J. Yates is in the hunt right now for going. Yeah, if T.J. Yates went to the Super Bowl and actually almost won the MVP, I don't know. I'm not 100% on that. But that's how you should answer T.J. Yates questions. No. Is he in the league? You're like, I'm not 100%.
He's out.
Guys like that should get that answer. It's like, even from sports broadcasters. Is he in the league? He might be. I'm not sure. Trevor Siemian? Is that guy still around?
I think Siemian
I think he is too. That's another one. I think he is too. You don't say that to a guy that just was in the Super Bowl. So if somebody wanted to pick him up, they would have. They would have paid him. And they would have thought he could have helped in football. And not one of the owners, not one of the 32 owners took his contract. Because even if somebody, I'm not going to say all 32 owners didn't believe in what he was saying, but what they said is, I'm not going to touch this one with a 50-foot pole to have this in our locker room. Because at that time, you had a lot of people that made the comments of Drew Brees, and people didn't care at that time. They actually backed it, as most Americans. And now it changed a lot, and people understand now why. I mean, I get the more and more. I'm personally, if someone said right now the national anthem's playing, and someone's like, you got to go and take a knee, I'd be like, I don't have to take a knee, but I respect if you do. And I would stand there.
Yep.
It's exactly what I would do. I would continue to do that. And if everybody stared at me, I'd be like, no.
And that's
I
okay,
had a military family and war here. And if someone goes, it's not about that, be like, that is how I was taught. And until about 3-4 years ago, the entire country felt that way. So I will let you take a knee, and I will respect you. And I will stand and put my hand on my heart. And that's what I would say.
And once again, that's okay.
Yeah.
It's okay. If you want to kneel, that's up to you.
Yeah.
If you don't want to kneel, that's the problem that I have. It's pushing things on people. Allow people to think the way they want to think. Don't push it, because if I push you, if I continue to just harp on you and say, Chad, you better take a knee. How dare you? Just berate you until you finally take a knee.
Yeah, like that day I tased you in the parking lot.
Yeah, it took two of them.
I was like, hey, man.
I had an energy drink.
Seriously,
so it was,
yeah.
But if you take a knee, then did you decide to take a knee? No. Was that your decision? No, you did it because you were, for one, that's what I hate about this, is so many people will not take what they should from this because they've been berated by other people. They've looked in the media and said, well, they're doing it, I guess I'll just do it, without truly looking in their heart and what they believe. If that's what you believe, then do it. If that's not what you believe, then don't do it. And that's okay, people. Mm-hmm. Once again, it may not be okay if you were in Russia or in China or somewhere else where they tell you to do something and you better do it. We're in America. That's the beauty of all this.
And what Jerry Jones might say, going back to a Fayetteville Politicians Club for a couple cigars, it's not what he's going to say when he knows that 84% of his roster is African American, and that if he wants to go out there and win some football games this year, if he comes out guns a-blazing on this, then it's going to be a very long season. And at this point, I think it's pretty clear. Jerry Jones, let's be real, with COVID-19 or anything, he's maybe got, I don't know how, I'm not his doctor. He's probably got really, 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 really good doctors. But Jerry's probably got 7 or 8 left in the at best left going on.
Unless they win a Super Bowl, he might just.
So at this point, though, every decision he makes is about winning another one. Because his legacy, there's a lot of people listening to the show that have never seen the Cowboys, Emmitt Smith, Pensacola's own, people like that, Michael Irvin, guys out there, Jay Novacek's and the Mooses of the world, Troy Aikman's. They just think Troy Aikman's an announcer on Fox. They don't, like, a lot of these people never have seen. They've just seen the sufferings of the Tony Romo, Bob, paying a guy like Dak Prescott $35 million. That's what they've seen. They haven't seen the other side.
Yeah, Jerry's 77. He's fixing to turn 78 in October.
Okay. Yeah, so.
I've said I think he's got 3 years in that position that he's in left total. And that's why the people that are, like, ridiculing him about making these decisions, I think every decision he's making right now, like you said, is to win a Super Bowl because he wants to win one because he knows he doesn't have very long left. But I do want to say this real quick. I was looking at the players that are in decline.
Mm-hmm.
You know who number one on the list is? In the NFL, the players that are on a decline right now in 2020.
2018, it was Alex Smith, wasn't it? Oh, that was me. Okay.
Larry Fitzgerald. He's about to go off. He's number one.
Yeah.
Get out of here. He's fixing to go off.
Yeah, he was on that list in like 2009 too, and he's fine.
And 10 and 11 and 12, and he just
I don't
continues.
care. Yeah, I wouldn't. That's one guy. Well, that's epitome of doubting people that are telling you facts, and you're like, nope.
Get him out of here.
Not listening.
Big Ten commissioner says Nebraska can't play football in the fall. Oh, this is going to be a mess.
Cam Newton, untucked shirt, and the whatever. I'm not even. He's our quarterback. He's my quarterback, man. Theo, this. Let's take a break on that note.
It's pretty
getting a little salty here.
Yeah.
Jackson Pace Pharmacy has exciting news for ED patients. Viagra 100 milligram generic is finally here. Get it today. 30 tablets for $80, less than $3 a pill. You heard right. Viagra 100 milligram generic is less than $3 a tablet. A prescription from your doctor is required, so stop by Jackson Pace Pharmacy and cash in on the savings today. 2256 West 9 Mile Road in Pensacola.
It's time for some straight talk. You know what a full court press is in basketball, right? Full defensive coverage with no holes. Well, that's the kind of coverage you get with Straight Talk Wireless. It runs on America's best networks, same as big carriers, but for a lot less. Just $45 a month gets you the unlimited plan with 25 gigs of high-speed data and 2G for up to 50% less than the big carriers. No contract. Full court coverage, 50% less. Straight Talk Wireless. No contract, no compromise. Savings may vary. See terms and conditions at straighttalk.com. It's time for some straight talk. You know what a full court press is in basketball, right? Full defensive coverage with no holes. Well, that's the kind of coverage you get with Straight Talk Wireless. It runs on America's best networks, same as big carriers, but for a lot less. Just $45 a month gets you the unlimited plan with 25 gigs of high-speed data and 2G for up to 50% less than the big carriers. No contract. Full court coverage, 50% less. Straight Talk Wireless. No contract, no compromise. Savings may vary. See terms and conditions at straighttalk.com.
As a truck driver, what's at the top of your mind right now? Running enough miles? Having more home time? Driving for a company that provides peace of mind? Schneider was founded during the Great Depression, and over 85 years later, we continue to have work, so drivers can count on consistent paychecks to provide for themselves and for their families. Schneider remains loaded and moving while hiring more drivers and adding new customers each day. Take control of your career and apply today at SchneiderJobs.com.
Whether you're building a new home or considering a renovation, choosing the right construction partner makes all the difference. At Lacoste Construction Group, they pride themselves on client experience and true craftsmanship, specializing in both new construction and renovations for both commercial and residential projects. Lacoste Construction Group will deliver you a quality turnkey project and is with you every step from consulting and budgeting to design and engineering. Get started turning your home or business into the space of your dreams today at LaCosteConstructionGroup.com.
Hello, sports fans. Miles Bentley here, General Manager at Hill Kelly Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram in Pensacola. Growing up, I always loved sports. Nothing but net, out of the park, through the uprights. Sink the puck Bentley, that was me. But my love of the game couldn't beat my love for Pensacola and helping folks get on the road of dreams in a new Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram. Sure, I never went to the big leagues in sport, but we're all pro here at Hill Kelly Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram. Proud to be in Pensacola.
The greatest name in sports radio is ESPN. Wherever you have Alexa, you can hear ESPN Pensacola 1330 AM, 99.1 FM. Just say,
Alexa, enable ESPN Pensacola 1330 skill.
The teams, the games, the fans, the local talk. This is ESPN Pensacola 1330 AM, 99.1 FM.
Rumors spread around United Texas town about the shack outside the game. You know what I'm talking about. Just let me know if you're gonna go to that whole mile on the range. They got a lot of nice girls.
And welcome back, Sports Drive, ESPN Pensacola, 1330 AM, 99.1 FM. Coming up tonight, we'll talk some UFC fighting with Greg LaFountain, Blab Sports, and UFC Insider on some of the fights coming back. A lot of the the sports that gave us a little bit of a Saturday, a little bit of a weekend, I think they're always going to have a place in our heart. You know what I'm saying? I think that even if we're going to go back to watching what we watch, not going to lie. I mean, if one of the games is SEC football season gets going as we expect, and you've got a game between like LSU and Alabama, and it's the same night as one of the UFC 197, I'm watching the football game. But I think we're always going to have a little bit of a place for like NASCAR, Korean baseball, UFC fighting. You know what I'm saying? That monkey that played that guy in Belarus.
Nope,
lost money. Ho. Throw that in there as well.
No,
Get into the cornhole game. I know you're a big cornhole guy.
I do love cornhole. Just not that good at it. No, I agree. Of course, NASCAR is popular around this area anyway, but overall, I think for the majority of sports fans, people have tuned into things they wouldn't normally tune into. UFC has not been my forte, obviously. I'll watch it. You know, I scroll through whatever, I watch it. I'll admit this, and I say this because I'm not going to come out and tell people, yep, I know everything about it. No, I don't. I really don't. I learn stuff every time I watch, and hearing, Greg will talk to him. I learn stuff listening to him talk. And then when I watch the fight, I'm like, oh, cool. All right. Didn't notice that about that. The grappling and the different styles and all. What's his name? Masvidal getting his foot stomped in. I didn't know that was UFC fighting, but that's cool, This stomp. I've done that before, I guess. But anyway, yeah. So, I mean, these sports that showed up, hats off to them, by the way, for being able to come back and not really having any hiccups. Golf. I've always watched golf anyway, but all these sports. I mean, that's awesome.
Yeah.
And like we said, we're starting to get back to normal. But, hey, it is what it is. But, by the way, the Mike Tyson-Roy Jones fight, why did they move it back? Did they move it back because of fans, maybe?
It's possibly, and there's a lot of stuff going on with that right now.
I hope so. Yeah. I mean, it's Thanksgiving weekend, isn't it?
Yeah, they're moving it back to November.
I'm down with that. Get fans in there.
Yeah.
I'm sure Roy and those guys would love that too.
I mean, the one thing we know about a fight, the more anticipation, the more money it's going to make, and the more that people still get a big build-up for it. Because remember, the fight was supposed to be September 12th because we were going to be there. We just when we talked to Roy, we were at his place and got to sit in his king seat. We got in his ring and all the things. But it was. September 12th is also right in the first few weeks of college football, and that's the first week of the NFL. So going up against that competition, maybe they looked at that and said that, hey, look, this is – but I would disagree with that too, though, of me just disagreeing with my own comment. Based on that, you would have already looked into that. Like, this is a big deal. It's not just like, hey, you want to meet for lunch, 12:30? No, 11:30? It's not one of those. Like, you're talking about setting a date for marriage. You're setting, a family reunion where you're getting people from all over the state to come in. This is a big deal. You need so I wouldn't put it there. But yeah, I think the logistics of making that happen. Remember, California too, where they're having it.
Good luck.
Good luck with what's happening. Yeah. Remember the Big Ten. Desmond Howard went a little overboard today. Like shame on all you. You called him a bunch of beep beep and went off on.
But he was
everybody.
Okay with the players coming out the other day. And with a statement, but then somebody
Desmond, I respect everybody as a broadcaster. Yeah. But I'm not a huge Desmond Howard fan. I was as a football player. I loved watching him play. He was awesome. I don't think if you had you are eliminated from College Game Day, he would be that guy. But when it comes down to the players and the Big Ten, it became a huge story. This is not. And then they even came back and we haven't officially made it. All the coaches went out there and said they want to play. I don't. People have been bashing Jim Harbaugh. You can bash Jim Harbaugh for a lot. I'm not going to bash for Jim Harbaugh for showing facts that they went from 13 positive tests when they got there to 0 over an 8-week span. Why would you fault the guy for that?
If anything, he's the one that showed the facts overall.
Why would you fault I mean, if anything, as a loving person, you should be good for you. Because if it's all about humanity.
Go Gators.
Oh, yeah. It's
Gators.
Second hour coming back. Sports Drive, ESPN Pensacola, Plaid TV.
Gators.
This is ESPN Pensacola, 1330 AM, 99.1 FM. Pensacola's home for hometown sports. Your home to talk football with Coach K. Sports Drive with Chad Brillante and Sports Call with Davis Allen. If you'd like to partner with ESPN Pensacola or become a sponsor, just give us a call at 262-6000.
You're listening to ESPN Pensacola, 1330 AM, 99.1 FM. All sports, all the time. WEBY, Milton, Pensacola.
Ladies and gentlemen, Can I please have your attention? I need all of you to stop what you're doing and listen.
Shake Milton, baby. Look at that right there. Nice, Jay. Looking at the Big 12, making the announcement that they'll get rolling. We'll see if Nebraska wants to rejoin or what's going on in the SEC and ACC. More pressure now because you know if one of those leagues says, nah, I don't think we can do it, get out the pitchforks.
Has just become the NFL's all-time leading rusher. Across the middle, it is caught for the first. It's Baldwin shaking free and sprinting down the sideline for the touchdown. His third of the day. Doug Baldwin.
Derek Brooks, who ran back 3 interceptions for touchdowns in the regular season, does it to cement the Super Bowl.
Boxing's elite, the new WBA heavyweight champion of the world, Roy Jones Jr.
Baldwin beaten. The result has come up on screens that Gatlin's taken it. Goodness me, it was a blue American vest, 992 the Gatlin. 992 by the American champion to take gold.
Another Watson is wearing a green jacket at Augusta. And this time, his name is Bubba. Scores on a 34-yard touchdown run by the Doak Walker Award winner, Trent Richardson, who broke a lot of Emmett Smith's records back in Pensacola, Florida.
And welcome back, Sports Drive, ESPN Pensacola, 1330 AM, 99.1 FM. Well, we're sitting here on August 12th, starting to move closer to football. People are saying, are we playing football? Yes, there is football getting played. Now, you might not be one of those people on the list, but Big 12 announced it yesterday. They're playing. SEC announced it. Not yet, but in our minds. I mean, SEC fandom has announced that. You know, like they're like, yeah, we're playing. And then the governor and everybody, Greg Sankey is trying to take the most peaceful political route, and good for him. He's done the right thing. But everybody else is like, that's great, Commissioner Sankey. Like, we're playing now. Because you knew, you lived here, you're born and raised. I've lived here long enough, 10 years, where you don't have to live here. You can live in Nova Scotia. You can live anywhere in the world, place that you didn't even know existed outside of Mongolia. And guess what? You know for a fact that when it comes to college football, the SEC takes it a little bit serious. Probably heard a Roll Tide out there in Nova Scotia. But we need to understand, if the Big 12 makes that announcement, it was a mic drop moment for everybody else to know, like as a fan. It was a late night. You know, I text you guys last night, but I know it's late night. I have insomnia. But everybody else is hanging out there. Yeah, you're like, oh, yeah, I got
the alert on my phone.
I know. But I was like, Big 12's in, baby. And when they were in, we realized that sort of by association that the SEC is in. The ACC, we expect. But the SEC, if the Big 12 makes the announcement that they're in, and the SEC does come out sometime in the next week or two and says we're out, no, that's not going to
happen.
It'll be one of those like fake, like, no, you're not in. That's not happening.
Well, the SEC said they were in weeks ago. And
yes.
that's what Sankey's statement yesterday was just reiterating, because he was like, hey, look, I'd like to know why the Big Ten and Pac-12 decided to change their minds in the past few days here, but we're continuing business as usual. So
I guess you don't have to make an announcement when it was already planned. That's a good point.
Well, yeah, but they technically made it a couple weeks ago.
They did.
They just haven't backtracked from it like the Big Ten did.
But that's why, like, when something happens like this, like if somebody really is pushing towards something and everybody's wearing blue shirts, and then like there's a group of guys all wearing red shirts and like, no, we're not. And then you're like, no, we're wearing blue. And one guy in the group ends up leaving and he's like, yeah, guys, I got the blue shirt. And then what's the next move? That guy's like, hey, are you all wearing blue shirts? You know, so at that point, if you come out and you step up in that group and you're like, sounds like some kid show doing this, and they'd be like, I'm wearing a red shirt. Then you're like, oh, look at that. Jim's wearing red. He's not coming over. That's what the Big 12 did yesterday. They're like, nope. I know the Big 12, the Pac-12, you're making these announcements. Everybody, there's still people out there. Is football going to happen? And Big 12 is like, no, we're official. We're good. We're doing it. The SEC and ACC are like, no, we're staying on course. Yeah, but they haven't had any press conferences.
Welcome to the party.
Exactly.
They opened the door.
But they don't really need to. And those guys, just like the guys wearing the red shirts, they don't need to change. They're like, no, dude, I don't care what you're really saying. It's just the public perception for that official, unofficial announcement that we already know is going to happen.
Well, it was a statement without a statement because the Big Ten and the Pac-12's medical officials said, well, we just don't see how we can do this safely. And then the ACC and the SEC's medical experts came out and said, yeah, we can do this safe. And it was like, we're saying no, we can't. We're saying, yeah, we can, and we're going to play. So you guys canceled. See you later. We're good to go and keep on rolling. That's – I mean, hats off. I think, look, for people, there's so many people right now, it's so funny. People want this to fail. And understand, if this fails, that means people are getting sick and all this other stuff. That means something drastic happened, and people want that. That's sickening to me. If anything, you should want this to succeed because it means guys got through this safely. Like, let's look at that for a minute. Yeah. Like, think about it. If this fails, it only fails because it's unsafe or something happened. If it succeeds, we got through it, we did it safely, and people were okay.
What would be your decision if you were the president of college football? That sounds like a cool title.
Oh, my Mark Emmert?
Yeah, no, he's not a president of college football. He's just that guy right now. He's that guy. He's that guy. He's that guy. That embarrasses you when you go. But if we had to pick right now, what do you do with the players in the Big Ten and the players in the Pac-12? Now, Desmond Howard would call and be like, shame on you. They're staying until the spring. But what about guys like Justin Fields, who's now 3 years removed, who's going to be a lottery pick, and he goes, nah, I don't want to stay. Why would I go and play football into April when I'm getting ready for the draft? That's when the Senior Bowl happens with all these events, and not to say he would, but all of these guys are ready to go and get ready to get paid all that money. Look, let's be real with what it is. College football is incredible, but for the really, really good players, that'll always be close to their heart. But going out there and becoming something in the NFL is where you make a living. That's the rest of your life. The 3 years in college, sometimes only 2 if you get to play, like even the Trevor Lawrences, the Tuas, the big names, Justin Fields, all these big guys, Jameis Winston was a redshirt, did not start immediately. These guys don't immediately go out there. So for 2 years of their life, they're the big man on campus. The NFL will set them up for the rest of their life. Financially, signing autographs, getting your head out there in the Hall of Fame, all of those moments, and then the rest of your life being a millionaire and getting to travel wherever you want to go. So if they have to decide between this, the stars are going to go to the draft, and I wouldn't blame them for 2 seconds. So what would you do right now, President of Sports, to those guys that say we need to, or which should have protest signs saying, hey, if we'd like to come over and play for the SEC, the Big 12, the ACC, do we have that right?
You talking about teams or players?
Players.
Okay, players.
No, not
here's
teams.
my thing.
The teams are a lot harder.
It's so much
outside
harder.
of Nebraska, and Nebraska's, they're pissed right now, but they're pissed for a reason.
Yeah.
But Nebraska's going to have a hard time.
So for the players, and there's a lot of people, and I asked Coach K about this today, and Coach K was like, well, yeah, but see, it's a little too late, and how are you going to add a Justin Fields to an Alabama? My counter is like, well, I'm not talking about Justin Fields going to Alabama.
Did he throw that out there? That was a good feeler to throw out there.
I'm talking about Justin Fields to like an Ole Miss, or Justin Fields to somewhere, Mississippi State. You want to throw the football over you, whatever. And I understand it's a different situation. He doesn't have much talent. But you're telling me there's not a team out there right now that's on the cusp of being good. It just needs a quarterback. Like, there's plenty of teams out there. Look, Florida State right now, if you're telling me Florida State would say Justin Fields is like, I want to come here, and they're like, nah, bro, we already got plenty of quarterbacks. We don't need you. You're fooling yourself, because Florida State would there'd be donors right now that would go up and fly him a private jet. That being said, it's so tough because not just, players wanting to go. There's probably going to be a couple that will. I will say that, obviously. The majority of the guys that are going to get drafted probably are just going to go get ready to get drafted. I mean, that's it. But it's for these other guys that maybe, on the cusp, on the borderline, they want to play, and they don't want to spend an extra year in college as well. You have to allow them. I mean, you have to allow them to do that, because the NCAA's allowed them to transfer freely and play immediately for much less. I mean, just because, they were mean to me. Oh, what about Tate Martell in that whole situation? Yeah. Like, if they allow him to do that, that right there tells you all you need to know. We all knew what that was about. But
look, if they don't allow them to transfer, if they say you have to do the whole protocol, sit out a year, then college football at that point, there's never a moment you can trust them. Because guys have been like, ow, did you hear that? God, I was going to play here at FAU, but, man, that mosquito down here, these swamps, so humid down here. It's too hot down here. I want to go play for Minnesota and be like, okay, sir, based on that you don't want to get West Nile, we're going to go ahead and send you here without sitting through the season. We're good to go. Like, they'll give you anything. Tate Martell got to transfer because Justin Fields transferred, and it was more like, I'm not going to win the job now, and you told me I was going to have the job. And then he transfers to Miami. So, like,
how'd
allowing
that work
Justin
out, by the way?
Yeah, long
Did it work
snapper.
out good?
Look for a couple photos with the girls down there. Viva las, in Miami. But when it comes down to playing, no, he was not even going to be the long snapper. It comes down to right now, this is something we've never seen, but it's something that definitely right now, if you're the Big Ten or the Pac-12, which is not on the agenda if you go to ESPN and other things like that, but this is something big because what do those guys do? If these guys want to play college football, the time is now to start talking to these teams. And when you say Mississippi State, I was going to say, if they're going to do it, though, it can't be from the heart, from like, well, we're going to help out the little guys that might need them. Like, Justin Fields will get a call from every single team.
I know. I'm just using an example.
Oh, there's a guy. I know what you meant to do, but I'm saying it needs to be a thing where it can't. And at the same time, I don't think it's fair that you allow them to go to the best schools either. That's what I'm saying. They've got to think of something because obviously the pecking order is going to be like LSU right now. You'd be like, look, we like you, Miles Brennan, but if Justin Fields wants to come over, we already took one Ohio State guy and just filleted everybody. But if that was the case and you're Justin Fields, why would you not want to go to an LSU or Alabama that have a Mac Jones or Miles Brennan, but they would both take a Justin Fields? That's the kind of thing where he would never go to a Vanderbilt or go to a school.
I wish.
He would never go to a school in the Big 12 like a Kansas because they would. So it might be just like, hey, if you're going to do this, this is what's going to happen, which would be the most interesting lottery ever in the history of the world, would be we're going to spit your ball into the teams that are left, the 14 teams out of the SEC, the 14 ACC, the 12 here, or the 10 in the Big 10, 12 right now. And out of these 38 teams, whatever ball you land on, that's where you go.
Wait a minute. We're getting it in right now.
They do this and they spit it in.
Justin Fields is transferring to UCF. Okay, there you go. Well,
that's all a deflection plan. That's what we're doing right there.
That is not true, by the way.
No,
Make
it's
that clear
not.
before somebody goes, oh, my God.
We make up our – I mean, we might post that. But if it comes down to that, that would be the most intriguing couple minutes ever of watching that lottery ball, like where are these guys going that are the stars.
Until it lands on Vanderbilt, and then they're like, nah, I'm going to sit out.
What if, like, the guy who's and don't put Emmert on this. You would have to put one of, like, the commissioners together pulling out the ball. Or get some guy that we all love up there on stage. Like Brian Bosworth comes up there. He pulls it out, and he's like, he puts it back in. Be like, hey, Bos, what was that? And be like, I feel for him, man. Feel for him. Be like, what do you mean? That. What was that ball right there? And be like, he's not going to Kansas. All right, next one here. We got – All right. A little better for him. All right, he's going to Ole Miss. All right, and everyone's like, John Reese Plumlee, he's in the background. They do a shot in on him. They get all the quarterbacks, too, from all the leagues. All the starters are waiting and watching. And he's like, it's Ole Miss. And Plumlee throws a football against the window.
Puts his name in the transfer portal immediately.
Immediately. These guys are breaking things in their house. Georgia, we go back to Georgia.
Yeah, the thing is, though, is you can transfer and get eligible immediately. I was reading an article about this, and it went in the weeds a lot about it. But what it comes down to is if you hire a lawyer. If you hire a lawyer, you can make it happen because
the American way. You can
the JT Daniels. The whole situation was they went and they hired a lawyer, got it all figured out, and there's really no way around to stop it.
Some lady hired a lawyer when her kid got fat from McDonald's and won. That dude hired that guy. There was a lawyer that was hired because people were getting apps from the Bills. The Bills app was sending them stuff that they didn't register for. And every one of them, it was a class action suit against the Bills. Bills, we were sending them updates, but they didn't sign up for them. Some guy was upset that he kept getting tweets and or whatever the updates were. It was a class action. The lawyers made like $1.5 million. Everybody split. I think it was 3,600 people that got them that weren't supposed to. They all split like $87. So it was one of these. It was like the lawyers. So you can hire a lawyer for anything if you want. We know that in this country. And God bless you, lawyers. I mean, we need you because everybody does need you at this point. It's like a real estate agent. Even if you walk in a house like, I think I got this, you need to hire a real estate agent to go through the ropes. Exactly. Yeah, that's
run you over the coals.
Yeah, it's one of those kind of things that they know that they're better than you, and I mean from you're going. I mean at law, they you can try it. Remember Ted Bundy tried to represent himself? People were like, this is going to go well. He was already. I mean, even the lawyers are like, good luck with this. But yeah, he tried it himself. That didn't work out well.
No.
It's one of these kind of things that we need to understand for football. That this is going to be. I think it's a valid question right now that doesn't need to be pushed aside. But what is going to happen with these stars that still want to play college football, that are a second-year sophomore, that's a true sophomore, that can't go pro? Like if Justin Fields, I'd advise him right now, dude, I feel bad for you, bro, but you need to go ahead and just start getting with like a QB guru, and you're going to be a high pick. And people are going to feel for you in the draft knowing that you want to play. If he wants to go back to college, he can do that. All of these other guys, though, if you're like a really good sophomore, a really good freshman, which today in college football, heck, Tua won it as a true freshman in the final minute. Trevor Lawrence won a national title as a true freshman. Jameis won as a redshirt freshman. Johnny Manziel had that season as a young sophomore redshirt freshman. These freshmen today can go out there and dominate. And these true sophomores are going to be stuck going, what are we supposed to do with our career? What, this spring league that's not even in the spring? Who named it that, by the way? What a con on everybody.
I know.
Me reading this.
It's in October.
It's in October. It's called the Spring League, and it's going to be now in the heart of the NFL and Big 12, SEC, and ACC season. I don't know what this guy was trying to pull. I think he was trying to get ahead of all these other leagues canceling, and he bet. This guy went out in Vegas. That's where he wanted to have it, and I think he shuffled up and dealed like he was going to go out there and win where all these leagues canceled. They're not canceling.
Well, he's done leagues from 2014 to 2017, like in the spring, obviously for guys that don't get noticed and things like that.
So this will be on like the.
I guess he tried to jump the gun on it because it may be.
This will be a rerun on Stadium Network or something. That's where that's. If he's going to be that guy, it's okay.
It may be because with the XFL rumored to be going in the spring, maybe he was like, you know what, this is my best shot now. I got to do it now. I got to make a move now. But don't call it the spring league. But my thing is, it's going to be interesting. Because with these two conferences not playing this year, this year, obviously, it doesn't hurt you to put your name in the transfer portal. So you put yourself in the transfer portal, you can talk to these other coaches and these recruiters, and then if you don't like what you hear, you can just jump back to your own team. But that's what's going to be so interesting about this.
It's what?
I don't know where you left.
Sorry, I got this. I couldn't. He was talking about his teacher. Some kid just told his teacher. It was my cousin. It was his first day back at school, and his teacher's a Gator fan on a Zoom meeting, and she said that, are you a Gator fan yourself? And he goes, no. My dad's a Knoll, and Gators eat boogers. And she hung up on the Zoom meeting. So that's what I was getting. Sorry, it was in the middle. I just got
right on.
But the conversation, I was hearing you at the same time. I was actually laughing.
This is going to be interesting because it doesn't hurt to put your name in a transfer portal. You've got two conferences now, along with obviously the MAC and things like that. But those kids are going to be calling from the MAC. They're like, shh, ignore that call.
If they don't have a return of the MAC, if they don't use return of the MAC when they come back, that's such a wasted chance. Right?
But I'm telling you, mark my words on that. There's going to be a ton of guys enter the transfer portal, and because once you enter, you can talk to these other coaches from these other schools. It's going to be interesting because it doesn't hurt to put your name in the transfer portal when you can come right back. So guys like Master Teague at Ohio State, the running back there, who was going to be a stud this year, finally got his opportunity. If he puts his name in the portal and say some big team comes calling, cool. But if it doesn't work out and they're like, well, we don't really have room for you, we don't have a scholarship for you, then he can just say, all right, I'll just wait and come back to Ohio State.
Lion King, defensive end for Eastern Michigan. It's a real player. It's really good, actually. I watch him. So Google that right there. Lion King.
I know what I'm going to
get
as soon as I Google.
No. Yeah. You might have to scroll down a few on that one. But what do you see? Pretty solid player?
Let's see. Played one game in 2016.
Okay. All right, you're not making my point here. But, yeah. It's a high recruit with that name. Was he one star? 1 star?
He went to in 2018. He transferred. He went to Saginaw Valley State.
There he was, where he starred, Lion King right there. But but just the point of that was there was a real player named Lion King at Eastern Michigan. But
thought he was good. Apparently he wasn't.
He didn't find out the circle of life when
He had to go to Saginaw Valley State.
He was scarred for life. We're coming back for more Sports Drive, ESPN Pensacola, Live TV.
For the thousands of wounded warriors returning from battle, Wounded Warrior Project has developed the Warriors to Work program, a unique program that helps wounded warriors translate their military experience to the civilian workplace. The Warriors to Work program also works with companies to find the right job for the right warrior. Contact Wounded Warrior Project at findwwp.org. Welcome home the brave.
Hi, I'm Danica Patrick. Watching my nieces grow, play, and learn is amazing, but not every child gets to be carefree. 1 in 6 kids in the U.S. are hungry. This breaks my heart, and it's something that Feeding America is working to change. Each year, the Feeding America network of food banks rescues billions of pounds of good food that would have gone to waste and gives it to families in need. To help, visit feedingamerica.org.
Brought to you by Feeding America and the Ad Council.
Locally owned, ADX Communications is currently accepting applications for a lifestyle talk show host on News Radio 92.3 AM 1620. The position is part-time, Monday through Friday, and requires knowledge of our Escambia and Santa Rosa listening area and lifestyles. Schedule and perform on-air interviews with guests involved in local businesses, civic activities, nonprofits, arts, and entertainment. Send resumes to HR at newsradio1620.com. ADX is an equal opportunity employer.
JP here. At ESPN Pensacola, we are hometown proud. Like the greatest pound-for-pound boxer of all time, Roy Jones Jr.
3-time light heavyweight world champion and former heavyweight champion of the world, future Hall of Fame legend, Roy Jones Jr.
What up? This is your boy Roy Jones Jr. and you're listening to ESPN Pensacola.
Here are the ESPN Pensacola 1330 AM 99.1 FM contest rules. You can win one prize per household per contest in any 30-day period, unless specified by individual contest rules. All prizes are non-transferable, non-redeemable for cash, or exchangeable for any other contest prize. Prizes must be redeemed within a 30-day period of winning and must be 18 years of age or older to win. For a complete list of rules, visit ESPNpensacola.com.
Hear ye, hear ye. I bringeth thee a message from... a message from the king and his new trumpeter, Stephen. The king wishes me to convey his favor to thine team and thine tailgate. Not yet. He invites thee to let the Bud Light flow forth. And he also wishes me to tell thee that he toasts thee. Waiteth until the end, Stephen! With game day's favorite light lager and the slogan of his kingdom... Oh, dilly dilly.
Enjoy responsibly. Bud Light Beer, AB, St. Louis, Missouri.
See, very intrigued by the Dan Le Batard Show on ESPN Radio.
Dan gets so mad that there isn't one dissenting voice.
It's not even that much of a risk, Mike. It's a 6.
Stugotz does that all the time. He doesn't get any credit for it.
I know, but no one with credibility dares risk it because they all just want to put stars up next to their name and pick the most obvious possible thing.
Thanks, Dan.
The Dan Le Batard Show with Stugotz, 9 till noon, weekdays on ESPN Pensacola, 1330 AM, 99.1 FM.
We do sports, and that's all we do. We're your hometown sports station, ESPN Pensacola, 1330 AM, 99.1 FM.
Welcome back. Sports Drive, ESPN Pensacola, 1330 AM, 99.1 FM. Simulcast each and every day here on Blab TV. Wednesday, August 12th, as we inch closer to the college football season, the Big 12, I'm just combining two teams. The Big 12 making the announcement that they will have a college football season, and we expect the SEC and ACC to just go on with course. I mean, everybody's wanting an announcement, but remember, there was going to be a college football season. They have schedules in place. Arkansas already knows that. They don't have to reiterate it, but the media wants them to. And we're waiting for an official word after the Big 12 and the Pac-12, but they don't have to. Just because the Big 12 and Pac-12 and Mountain West said we're not playing football, the other ones don't have to officially say anything, but they will. I mean,
I'm confused,
they
though,
ultimately.
because Sankey made a statement that they're moving forward, the September 26th. He goes, that's the reason that we're playing September 26th? Gives us leeway? I mean, Sankey made the statement, like, immediately after all this. That's why I'm confused where people are saying that there's not a statement.
I guess they wanted, like, a board meeting and, like, yes, it is all good to go. I mean, his last statement, though, right after that, it was pretty much all about, like, how we're taking day by day our precautionary measures, everything, we're playing this safe. He wrote a whole issue yesterday in the SEC right after that happened about how his whole entire thing was fluff. I mean, which is okay. There's a lot of liability. Some people, like Jim Harbaugh and other people that immediately come out and say things, people are berating for, which I'm not going to, but some people are doing that. But yesterday he issued a statement that was pretty much, it wasn't touching anything like we're going on. He just, you see what he wrote, I look forward to learning more about the factors that led the Big Ten and Pac-12 leadership to take these actions today. I remain comfortable with the thorough and deliberate approach that the SEC and our 14 members are taking to support a healthy environment for our student athletes. We will continue to further refine our policies and protocols for a safe return to sports as we monitor developments around COVID-19 in a continued effort to support, educate, and care for our student athletes every day. He said that, which in a way he's saying, like, we're still going to do it, but there's not – I think just today in the world,
well, it's because
we just want people to just say, like,
from the beginning.
I know.
But that's even him saying that statement, though. He said, this is why we bumped it back to September 26th, so it gives us plenty of time. It allows our students to come on campus. That gives us like 3 weeks with students on campus so we can acclimate to how we're going to do this. And so nothing's changed for the SEC, unlike some of these other conferences that post schedules and a couple days later decide we're not going to play. So
I think that's the biggest thing is we talk about this. We know that the ACC, if someone walked up to us today, which people ask us a lot because we're in this business, hey, you think sports are going to happen? We said the Pac-12 was probably not going to play. The Big Ten was an outlier. That didn't shock everybody, but it was a surprise to many. We expected a lot of the other leagues. The Big Ten, I think, would you agree, was the biggest surprise that they canceled? I mean, that was
but at the same time, like, it's one of those you're surprised they canceled, but you're not surprised because, once again, I mean, politics do play a role in all this, and the Pac-12 is different. It's just facts. It is what it is. We knew that they were probably going to fall. Part of this too, there's a lot of rumor that with that Pac-12 player union that they were creating out there,
and then the Big Ten jumped on that as well.
It's no coincidence that the players wanted to get paid, and then the leagues were like, well, it just doesn't seem like we're safe. Now that Pac-12 unity thing is like, well, they mishandled this. They weren't ready from the start, and it's like, well, okay, you kind of dug your own grave on this, but it is what it is. The Big Ten, you thought they would play because of Ohio State, because of Michigan, the big dogs out there. We thought the big dogs would play. The Big 12, we kind of felt, though, the ACC and the SEC were going to do whatever. They were going to do the same thing. We knew that from the beginning. We were hearing rumors the Big 12 was going to join them because we're all kind of that same group down here, where the Pac-12's over here, the Big Ten's up here. So I am a little surprised at the Big Ten, but I'm not, because when you break it down outside of sports, you see where this could have went.
Is it too late, or would it be something?
To apologize, yes, it is.
No, I'm not apologizing. What are you talking about?
The song. Never mind.
What song? Oh, no. Too late to. Okay.
Never mind.
Yes, I know exactly.
I know.
That's one of those songs, though, that has such a beat to it. I've never heard someone read it like a James Earl Jones right there. But, yeah, no, I know exactly what song.
Like James?
No.
I want to sound like James.
Too late. No, I mean, but when it comes down to the announcements, we don't need it. But I think, like I said, immediately after that, the Big 12 was the one that stepped up after yesterday when the announcements were made by the Pac-12 and Big Ten and said, guys, it was later at night, but they said, we are having a season. And then it started to get posted everywhere. And that's what we've learned about social media is it can control what people think, whether it's true or not. The SEC and the ACC are just like, we're doing our thing. They don't need anybody to post anything. But I think a lot of people are still waiting for it. You know what I mean? Is it okay?
Well, they're idiots.
Yes. But most people are idiots right now.
I
I'm
agree,
sorry.
Just
after reading, I'm not talking to you if you're listening out there, but from everything that I've read and comments where somebody will post people are not that smart. Everybody out there
I'll say it. If you're waiting on the SEC to make a statement, you're an idiot outside of what he's already said, because they haven't changed their stance. They said this is what we're going to do. We're going to have to adapt as we go along. This was said months ago, and even guys like Dan Mullen said, look, we're going to have to be flexible. In our meetings that we've talked about this, flexibility is going to have to be key. There'll be days when we're going to have to change protocols on a dime, and we're just going to be ready for that. But that's – if you think the SEC, they haven't changed their stance at all, that's where I go back to maybe Sankey hasn't straight up just said, yesterday or whatever, yes, we're playing, but he has said that before because they're practicing, they're doing all these other things. They haven't swayed. They released the scheduling. They're working on protocols. They're talking to their medical officers. Their medical officer came out yesterday. The ACC's medical officer came out. Because I thought it was funny. It was almost a shots fired type thing between these two, because the Big Ten and the Pac-12's medical advisors were like, it's just not safe. Immediately after, Duke's infectious disease expert comes out, it's like, yeah, it's safe.
Yeah.
And then the SEC's comes out, yeah, it's safe. We're following our protocols and we're having success, so we're good to go.
Yeah. Speaking of not being able to follow their regular protocol, it's one of these that well, the sports books have canceled pretty much all of their college football right now. And Jeff Davis, by the way, director of trading for Caesar Sportsbook. Jeffrey out there.
Oh, Jeffrey D, yeah.
Jeff Davis, right there. Jeff said some of this is going to be handled case by case, but when weird stuff like this happens, you can't plan for it, so we got to figure this out. One thing, knowing from living there, or anybody that's bet online, if the sports book or anybody out there, Biloxi or anywhere, doesn't feel like something's right, they have the right to just rip up your ticket, do whatever they want. And you have nobody to complain to outside of you want to, but you don't win the fight. You're not going to win that. I did that one time when, 6 in the morning, I was still up. But I went in there, and
some things never change.
They have all the prop bets, yeah. So the prop bets were up there, and they had Dominic Davis. Remember old LSU running back?
Yes,
so Dominic Davis and Matt Schaub, that was their the Houston
the 1-2 right
Houston
there,
Texans right there. So clearly this was meant for a Matt Schaub, but it said over under Dominic Davis 247.5 passing yards. So the first thing I didn't need to, but I went to my phone to see if Dominic Davis has ever done like a reverse. And no, he had 2 passes in his entire career dating back to LSU. One was incomplete and one was a screen. So obviously on your worst day, if you lose that bet, you need to just go and find somewhere, lay low, because you are a liability to people. If you have that bad of luck, you just don't need to be in public. If you lose that bet, like he all but nowhere, like, you know what, let's run some reverses. Go 7 for 7 for like 248. No, so I take that bet, and I waited a little while to be like, okay, they're going to change this. So I went up to the window, and you're like 246. Place it, and the guy gives me the ticket. Clearly wasn't a sports fan, didn't look at it. Okay, I'm like, so I got that, and it was a small. I don't have a lot in my account at this time, so I'm like, okay, maybe if this is still up here, I'm going to do it again. So I went back to like 4 different windows, not acting like I'm the same guy at the same window. And by the end of the day, everything out of my account was on that ticket pretty much. Why not? It's free money if he goes out there. So right before the kickoff, like 5 minutes before, they make a big void, like this ticket's been voided. And I was like, you got to just waste it. But I'm upset. Because I was about to get a bunch of free cash. But I also was like, who am I really going to argue? They're doing the right thing. Like, it was a mistake.
Because if they asked you,
exactly. He's not even a quarterback. He's not supposed to. But at the same time, I was like, can you change it to running yards? He's not going to get 246 or something. But
I got fired, by the way. Put that up there.
Somebody did. But in that case, same thing with this. The sports book's not. If you had a prop bet on like Ohio State winning the national title or Clemson winning it, now you think you're better because Ohio State's not in the running, it's void right now. So we'll come back. We'll talk some more with Greg LaFountain. Will join us to talk some UFC fighting when we return right here on the Sports Drive.
Hello, sports fans. Miles Bentley here, General Manager at Hill Kelly Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram in Pensacola. Growing up, I always loved sports. Nothing but net, out of the park, through the uprights. Sink the puck Bentley, that was me. But my love of the game couldn't beat my love for Pensacola and helping folks get on the road of dreams in a new Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram. Sure, I never went to the big leagues in sport, but we're all pro here at Hill Kelly Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram. Proud to be in Pensacola.
JP here. Everyone here at ESPN Pensacola wants to send a shout out to our first responders and healthcare workers at this time. We know it's tough, but we appreciate the work you put day in and day out. We also want to thank our essential workers out there for helping all of us continue to live our lives as normal as possible in this time. For our community, keep rocking it. We are going to get through this. Remember, we were named the #1 strong town in America. That wasn't by accident. We have seen so many people step up and do their part, and we thank all those people for their efforts. We will be stronger for this, and together, we will beat COVID-19. For your ridiculous facts, I'm JP. Hall of Fame pitcher Nolan Ryan has one grossly dedicated fan out there. According to ESPN, at one point, a jockstrap he wore while pitching his 7th no-hitter sold for an unbelievable $25,000. Some things are better left unsaid. And 49ers legend Steve Young is great-great-great-grandson of Brigham Young of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, for whom BYU is named after. That's your ridiculous facts. I'm JP.
This is Davis Allen from Sports Call with Davis and Justin. You're listening to the Sports Drive with Chad Brilliante on ESPN Pensacola 1330 AM, 99.1 FM.
So tired, wanna let loose. I was dreaming of bigger things and wanna leave my old life behind. Not a yes sir, not a follower. Fit the box, fit the mold, have a seat in the foyer. Take a number. I was lightning before the thunder.
And welcome back, Sports Drive, ESPN Pensacola, 1330 AM, 99.1 FM, simulcast on Blab TV. Well, so many things have happened over the last couple months where we had no sports. UFC fighting, Fight Island. Dana White was pretty adamant about giving us some entertainment, and they did. Well, now, back in the ring, Saturday, so many big fights coming up here. Dana White's Contender Series going on right now, Season 4, Week 2. And joining us now to talk MMA, UFC fighting, Blab Sports himself, Greg LaFountain, having a chance to join us each and every week to get into some of the big fights. Greg, what's happening, my friend?
Hey, how are you?
Man, we're hanging in there. So how's the fighting life? I know we've paid attention to a lot of it, but once a lot of the other sports, right now the big news with the Pac-12 or the Big Ten, what's happening in college football canceling their seasons, the NBA and the NHL getting ready for the playoffs and the bubble, MLB baseball, it's harder for us to keep track of everything. So I'm paying attention to some of the fights, but at one point it was either UFC or NASCAR, and that's pretty much what you were watching. What has been some of the bigger stories here recent for the people out there listening that haven't been following UFC now on a daily basis?
Yeah, well, the UFC is still putting together fights and still putting on events almost every single weekend. And now, like you mentioned, Dana White's Tuesday Night Contender Series, they're 2 weeks into that. And so you're getting fights, 2 different fights 2 times a week. And for those of you who don't know what the Contender Series is, it's up-and-coming prospects who aren't in the UFC yet but are looking to make their way to the UFC. And if they have a good enough performance, they win, not only win, but win exciting. That's what Dana's looking for, fighters who are going to come in and have exciting fights, not just, push somebody against the cage, eke out a, victory from the judges. He wants exciting fighters who are going to go on there and bring some excitement to the division. The biggest one to come out of that a couple years ago is Sean O'Malley, who is fighting this weekend. A lot of comparisons to Conor McGregor, very exciting fighter, a smaller guy, 135 pounds, Conor coming in the UFC at 145. Brought a lot of excitement with him because he was able to knock people out, and that's not something that you saw a lot of guys do at those smaller weight classes. You saw a lot of decisions. But not that they weren't exciting fights, but, everybody likes to see the knockout. They like to see the finish. And that's something that, the Sugar Sean O'Malley, he's able to do. And he's fighting this weekend. There's still a lot of exciting stuff going on right now in the UFC.
Looking right now, a big fight coming up here in 252. Daniel Cormier, a guy that has been just a staple. And we all know the big names throughout the history of UFC fighting. He's been one of those. Is only the second person to hold UFC titles in 2 different weight classes simultaneously. Just talk about this fight, because he's also fighting a guy that's a pretty solid fighter himself.
Yeah, absolutely. So, Daniel Cormier went up when he was a light heavyweight champion, went up to heavyweight and defeated Stipe Miocic, knocked him out in the first round. A lot of people consider that to be, a huge upset. Stipe, just before that fight, had set the record for setting the most title defenses, defending the title 3 times in the heavyweight division, something that had never been done before in the UFC. So clearly one of the best, if not the best heavyweight of all time in the UFC, and Daniel goes in and knocks him out in the first round. They rematch a year later. It was last August, and Stipe Miocic got his revenge with a fourth-round TKO. And so now we're going to find out. Neither one of them have fought since last August, and they're both going to fight this Saturday night. Rubber match, find out really who is the baddest man on the planet. And it's going to be a really exciting fight. Both fights are actually available for free on YouTube. So if you want to go and, don't have ESPN Plus or anything like that, both fights are available on YouTube. You can watch the, first round knockout that Cormier had, or you can watch the fourth round TKO that Stipe had. Both of them were great fights, and there's just a lot of questions that are going to be answered this Saturday. I'm really looking forward to it.
Greg, don't give out our trade secrets. Now it's going to be buffering. Come on, man. I'm just.
No, it's legal. No, like the UFC puts them out on YouTube. They'll do that. The UFC does that leading up to fights the weekend. They'll release one of the fighters' fights for free on YouTube. So it's not illegal or anything like that.
Yeah.
The UFC on their channel, their YouTube channel, will release one of the fighters' fights that, one of the more exciting ones to get people to buy the pay-per-view for Saturday night.
Yeah. When I'm watching those games, too, and I get those, like, Serbian weight pills in front of mine that I have to click off the ads, mine's legal, too, by the way. I just want to make that clear. So, just want to make that clear. Daniel Cormier, though, will he go down, though, do you believe, as in that elite group of, like, the all-time big names? Anderson Silva's, the names like Chuck Iceman Liddell, the names we always talk about, the Rampage Jacksons of the world. Some of them have more of a famous name than just their record, but will Cormier go down as one of the all-time greats of all time? Well, made sense.
Absolutely should. Will he amongst the regular guy walking down the street? Probably not. And the reason for that, unfortunately, is he looks like the normal guy walking down the street.
Yeah, he does.
5'10", and he's every bit of 245, 255 pounds, especially now that he's fighting at heavyweight. He just doesn't look like your typical UFC fighter who's shredded with six-pack abs. I mean, even Stipe's fighting, heavyweight, and Stipe still has abs. Cormier has a keg. He doesn't have a six-pack, but he is still one of the baddest men on the planet. He is, he's just an unbelievable fighter, has a great career. One of those guys that I really rooted for early on because he wrestled in college and wasn't able to quite get the NCAA National Championship because he wrestled at the same time as somebody named Cael Sanderson. And if you know anything about collegiate wrestling, Cael Sanderson's the best collegiate wrestler of all time. Finished with a career, I think it was 139-0. I mean, just something ridiculous. And of course, DC wrestles at the same time. Then DC gets into the UFC. He comes from Strikeforce. And he's, Grand Prix champion in Strikeforce. Comes into the UFC. Doesn't fight at heavyweight because his training partner, best friend Kenny Velasquez, is running the heavyweight division of the UFC. Drops down to 205, and there's John Jones. So it's just like he seems to always have these obstacles and hurdles that he just couldn't get over throughout his career. Even in Olympic wrestling, he missed weight, wasn't able to compete in the Olympics, but was on the Olympic team. And then he finally, I root for this guy. He is a nice guy. He's a great role model. He really is one of the best fighters of all time, but he just doesn't have that look that I think that the common, maybe UFC fan is looking for, or that they want their champions to have. And, but I mean, if you look at, he's beaten everybody that he's faced, not named John Jones, and he lost to Stipe once, and he beat Stipe, but then he lost him again. He's going to look to get some revenge this weekend. So, yeah, I absolutely think he should go down as the top, I would say top three greatest fighters of all time.
Speaking with Greg LaFountain, UFC Insider, each and every week here on the show and with Blab Sports. Greg, you look right now at Paige Van Zandt. She was 5-4 in her career with UFC, but I think one of the biggest surprises, and JP and I had this conversation, of how much money bare knuckle boxing is actually making. Now, it's not one of those mainstream, and I'm not sure if everybody out there is ready for bare knuckle boxing yet, because it's pretty clear what it is. You're hitting people with your bare knuckles, not even gloves, so it's going to get a little bloodier. And you have, I know people around here like Dylan Kleckler, one of our, I've known Dylan for a while. We sat next to each other in church, and he's been getting into fighting. He was one of the staples of Island Fights, and he's been doing a great job with it. Looking at the BKFC, Bare Knuckle Fighting Championship, she has got $1 million for a four-fight deal. I mean, it's a lot of money for a 5-4 fighter. How big is this league, and is it going to continue to grow? Because obviously there's engagement to have contracts like that.
Yeah, I cannot believe that she did end up signing there. I think that they were just, it's not a lot of the fighters that you see go to bare knuckle boxing are fighters that, not that they didn't have to, they're not in their prime. They're kind of, their UFC days are behind them, their MMA days are behind them, and they don't want to wrestle anymore. They don't want to do jiu-jitsu anymore. They just want to stand and trade. That's not Paige Van Zandt's MO, two of those things. First of all, she's entering her prime now. Secondly, she isn't a stand and trade fighter. She is a well-rounded, kind of does, everything pretty well fighter. It's not like stand-up is what she's known for. It's just knocking girls out at 115 pounds. And plus, she's had some injuries in her career. That's probably, she wasn't that active in the UFC. She had a lot of endorsements, a lot of hype coming in, but a lot of it was much because of the way that she looked, which doesn't hurt her. She was on Dance with the Stars, and she came out kind of going into the last fight of her contract a few weeks ago, saying that she made more money on Dancing with the Stars than she did in the UFC. Well, like you said, she's 5-4. When you're 5-4 in the UFC, you don't expect to make Conor McGregor money. But yeah, I'm very surprised that they even signed anything. If you would have told me 6 figures, I would have been surprised. But for 7 figures, go to modeling. I don't know. If that's what she really wants to do, fighting, absolutely I support her. Do what you want to do. But I'm surprised that she didn't go to Bellator, 1FC, one of those smaller MMA organizations, and build her name up there, which she still could have made decent money, not $1 million. But yeah, I can't believe that she got that kind of money from bare knuckle boxing.
Well, and we understood what you meant by when you said well-rounded. We got that the first time around, so we knew what. Yeah, I think some people thought you were talking fighting. I got that. But overall, though, Greg, the fights coming up here, is there one that you truly you follow this? We pay attention to the details and look at the numbers, and every day I'm scrolling through the headlines, but you are better at making a decision of who you believe should be the big fight coming up compared to myself or JP, because you're paying attention to that daily. What fight would you love to see and you think is possible for the UFC coming up here within the next few months?
That hasn't been made yet?
Yes.
That hasn't been made. You know what? I think a great fight for the two of them, and I hate to just start a big name like this, but everybody knows, but Conor McGregor and Tony Ferguson. Conor McGregor coming off a 42nd knockout against Cowboy Cerrone in January. Doesn't really said he retired, and part of the reasons why he retired was because he missed the fans. He missed having that, energy to feed off of. I don't believe for 1 second that he's retired. I don't think he fights again this year, but I think with Khabib fighting Justin Gaethje in October, that kind of sets up maybe a late spring time for if Conor or Tony to maybe get a chance for that title. So why not set up maybe early, like New Year's Day type of time frame, beginning of 2021, Conor McGregor and Tony Ferguson. Tony Ferguson just got, outclassed by Justin Gaethje. It was his first loss in, I think, 12 fights. Let's put those two together. It makes sense. It's a fun, stylistic matchup between, both guys who do just like to stand and trade. If the fight does go to the ground, obviously Tony Ferguson has the advantage there, being very crafty, but more so on his back, and that's something that Conor's not going to do, is take him down. So I think that'd be a fun, stylistic matchup. Another one, I want to see John Jones at heavyweight. I think that he's done everything that he needs to do at 205. I don't understand why the UFC isn't really. I understand we're in a pandemic and everything right now, and everybody wants more money. But John Jones, pay the man, pay him whatever he's asking to go up to heavyweight and fight Francis Ngannou, because that's a fight that I think everybody would love to see. I think that whoever win or lose, I don't see Stipe or DC fighting again after Saturday night. I think that they're both just done. I think, especially DC. DC wasn't even supposed to fight this long. He wanted to have the Brock Lesnar fight be his last fight. That obviously didn't come together. This has gone over a year of when he said he was going to retire. So I think that DC's done. Stipe, I could see him being done as well. And just, he's a fireman in Cleveland, just, has, kids now, spend time with his family, made enough money. Let's have the interim belt be for John Jones and Francis Ngannou. And Francis Ngannou, probably the hardest hitting man to ever step foot in the octagon. Let's have him welcome John Jones to the heavyweight division. I'd love to see that fight and have that be for the interim heavyweight title if these guys do decide that they want to retire, or to vacate, depending on what happens.
Great salesperson, Greg. You just convinced me. You got Bones Jones and Conor McGregor fighting in the card, so I'm I'm buying. So there you go.
There's no way they're coming on the same card.
Yeah.
But yes,
you're like, I didn't say that they were going to be. I'm trying to diversify my portfolio here. Yeah.
There's no way that happens in the same month, let alone the same card.
Just go big or go home. Yeah, Tiger Woods versus Jack Nicklaus in his prime in a golf tournament. Let's just make that happen. But, hey, Greg, appreciate it as always. Looking forward to talking to you each and every week. Enjoy what is the chaos right now of trying to figure out sports. We'll do the rest of that stuff for you. But, hey, we're looking forward to talking to UFC with you next week.
Yeah, I can't wait. Great card this week, and hope everybody tunes in.
Appreciate it. Thanks again, Greg.
Bye.
Greg LaFountain does a great job right there as our UFC insider on the show and also with Blab Sports. When we come back, we're going to talk some more on what's going on right now after the Big 12's decision and the SEC and ACC, their seasons ahead, and some of the obstacles that the Big 10 and Pac-12, if the players want to join, will they have the opportunities. We'll also talk about the NBA, NHL games coming up here tonight and Major League Baseball as one guy in Houston's got a good seat for 20 days. Coming back for more. Sports Drive, ESPN Pensacola, Blab TV.
Man, last night we put on an epic light show.
So epic.
The crowd loved us.
Wait, there were only 4 people out there.
Yeah, but did you see their 4 faces? Their eyes lit up brighter than ours, and we're fireflies.
Yeah, we are.
And we're gonna be out here rocking out our light show at a forest near you, so come check us out.
Check us out.
Whether you're rocking their world or they're rocking yours, some memories never fade. Come alive with the forest. Visit discovertheforest.org to find a forest near you. Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service and the Ad Council.
I'm Little Teapot, short and stout.
Here is my handle and here is my spout.
No, Dad, like this. When I get all steamed up, then I shout, tip me over and pour me out.
This is WWE superstar Roman Reigns. It only takes a moment to make a moment. Take time to be a dad today.
Visit fatherhood.gov, brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
Hear ye, hear ye. I bringeth thee a message from a message from the king and his new trumpeter, Stephen. The king wishes me to convey his favor to thine team and thine tailgate. Not yet. He invites thee to let the Bud Light flow forth. And he also wishes me to tell thee that he toasts thee. Waiteth until the end, Stephen. With game day's favorite light lager and the slogan of his kingdom. Oh, dilly dilly.
Enjoy responsibly. Bud Light Beer, AB, St. Louis, Missouri.
ESPN Pensacola, 1330 AM, 99.1 FM. Pensacola's home to hometown sports, covering the biggest high school games. UWF football, catching every game of the Pensacola Blue Wahoos. Plus, local sports commentary with the Sports Drive with Chad Brillante. And weekend sports talk with Davis Allen and Justin Patrick on the Sports Call. We are local. We are ESPN Pensacola, 1330 AM, 99.1 FM.
There's a new lineup coming to ESPN Pensacola, 1330 AM, 99.1 FM. Starting August 17th, Keyshawn, J. Will, and Zubin will air weekday mornings 5 to 9. Then Mike Greenberg returns to radio with Mike Greenberg Show, 11 to noon weekdays. And the Max Kellerman Show will air from 1 till 2 weekday afternoons. New programming, same brand. And still Pensacola's home for hometown sports. ESPN Pensacola, 1330 AM, 99.1 FM.
JP here. At ESPN Pensacola, we are hometown proud. Like the greatest pound-for-pound boxer of all time, Roy Jones Jr.
3-time light heavyweight world champion and former heavyweight champion of the world, future Hall of Fame legend, Roy Jones Jr.
What up? It's your boy Roy Jones Jr. and you're listening to ESPN Pensacola.
The teams, the games, the fans, the local talk. This is ESPN Pensacola, 1330 AM, 99.1 FM.
And welcome back, Sports Drive, ESPN Pensacola, 1330 AM, 99.1 FM. Joe Burrow's last year, he would have been a 6th-rounder. This is what Ed Ogeron said today, as he also said, go Tigers. But he said Joe Burrow's last year was a 6th-round pick going into the season, and he ended up being the first pick in the NFL draft. We've got to give our players this opportunity if it's safe for them. They deserve it. Our fans deserve it. Our country deserves it. Now, Ed Ogeron probably said it nothing like the way I just said that.
He's a single man,
yeah,
by the way, so he's got a little more
he's
behind
running.
it now. Yeah,
he's out there. He's running Destin. He's doing laps. People are stopping and waving. Go Tigers right there. Yeah.
Red Bulls and
he probably said, Joe Burrow, last year we got a 6th-rounder pick on it. I'm not going to, let me stop right there. But overall, though, most disrespect. I know I can't be
like
doing
you
that
have to
these
smoke
days.
a lot
I can't.
to talk like that.
Most disrespectful Hall of Fame talk if they were to represent this team, and they had their fan base, their true fan base, which we know, getting their jersey. Here we go. Drew Brees wearing a San Diego Charger jersey, or Hakeem Olajuwon wearing a Toronto Raptor jersey. Which one would be more disrespectful to their true fans that I don't even have to say?
It's obviously a little bias here, but Drew Brees.
Rocket fans would be a little ticked off. Houston Rocket. Okay,
I agree. I'm just saying in our area, obviously.
Big Papi wearing a Minnesota Twins jersey, or Jerry Rice in a Seahawk jersey.
Oh, that is tough.
That is tough right there.
I'm going to go Big Papi in a Twins jersey.
Jerry. Imagine all the Red Sox fans. We love. Big Papi's a superhero. If that happened, I know
he was boss, especially when he was after all that stuff happened. His speech.
Jerry Rice is the best.
Yeah, he is for sure. But PR-wise, goodness gracious.
Real quickly, Emmitt Smith in an Arizona Cardinals jersey, or Joe Namath in a Rams jersey.
Both were awful when it came to that. Joe Namath, as good as he was, Emmitt Smith in a Cardinals jersey, though, that just was not.
And here's the ultimate one right here. Tom Brady in a Bucks jersey, or Michael Jordan in a Wizards jersey.
Michael Jordan in a Wizards jersey.
Really?
Because what if Tom Brady wins a championship, though?
No, get it out of here.
What if
get
he
it out.
wins a championship,
Get that stuff out of here. I'm not ending the show on that note. How dare you come in? Not buying into that.
Just saying. Could happen.
I know enough people right now, relatives of mine, in Canton, if he made that speech announcement and he was wearing Buccaneers. And
Gronk's going to be right there in the Bucks jersey with it?
No, thanks. I'll make a call. I know a couple Tonys that live there.
Newton Edelman, baby. Newton Edelman.
That's all the time we have for today's show. Thanks for joining us here on Blab TV and ESPN Pensacola.
Salty skin and how it mixes in with mine. The way it feels to be completely intertwined. Not that I didn't care, that I didn't know. It's not what I didn't feel, it's what I didn't show. So let me be, and I'll set you free. I am in misery, and there ain't nobody who can
It's time for your ESPN Pensacola headlines right here on the Sports Drive. Taking a look here at some of the games going on right now. A lot, actually. We didn't get to say that for 4.5 months. Looking at the Toronto Raptors and Philadelphia 76ers. The Sixers with a 7-point lead right now on the Raptors, both in to the playoffs, even though this is the final game before that. Indiana with a 108-104 win over the Houston Rockets today. They're both in the playoffs. Miami and Oklahoma City, two teams in the playoffs, will battle it out tonight at 7, and then at 8 o'clock on ESPN, the Clippers and the Nuggets. If the Clippers win, they get the second seed overall. So big game right there. In baseball, Cubs with a 4-0 win in the bottom of the 5th against the Indians. Braves and Yankees tied at 2 in the 2nd and already bases loaded. This one's going to be a slugfest. Tampa and Boston, 2-0 Tampa right now over Boston in the 2nd. Arizona with a 13-7 win over the Rockies. Oakland 8-4 over the Angels. And tonight, Seattle and Texas will battle it out at 8:05.
This is ESPN Pensacola, 1330 AM, 99.1 FM. Pensacola's home for hometown sports. Your home to talk football with Coach K. Sports Drive with Chad Brillante and Sports Call with Davis Allen. If you'd like to partner with ESPN Pensacola or become a sponsor, just give us a call at 262-6000.
You're listening to ESPN Pensacola, 1330 AM, 99.1 FM. All sports, all the time. WEBY, Milton, Pensacola.
Radio Sports Center.
I'm Steve Lennox. Raptors and 76ers have reached halftime in Orlando. Third quarter coming up on ESPN TV. Sixers lead 62-55. Kyle Lowry, 19 points in the first half for Toronto. Sixers were led by Tobias Harris. He had 17 in the first 24 minutes. Clippers and Nuggets scheduled to tip at 9 p.m. Eastern on ESPN TV and ESPN Radio affiliates. NBA Countdown in 30 minutes on ESPN Radio. NBA today suspending Bucks star Giannis Antetokounmpo 1 game after he was ejected Tuesday night for headbutting Mo Wagner of the Washington Wizards. Celtics today announcing that the organization has agreed to a contract extension with head coach Brad Stevens. Celtics will be the 3rd seed in the Eastern Conference playoffs when they get underway next week. UFC 252 main event Saturday night in Las Vegas. The 3rd matchup between heavyweight champ Stipe Miocic and Daniel Cormier. The 41-year-old Cormier says this will be his final fight of his illustrious career, but still, there are nerves.
I get nervous every single time I fight. You know, I get nervous. I get nervous. I get a tad bit scared. I think if you don't have that, you're not ready to go. But I think the nerves are competitive. I think that they're not me being fearful of anybody. You know, I'm not afraid of anybody, but the competitive nerves get me a little bit at times, and it's good though, because when they don't come, I don't feel confident going into the fight.